First, I would like to say good evening to everyone and thank you all very much for attending this evening. Today, we're going to get started, and we have our hearing for a constant yield rate. Most of you all are probably familiar. We've done this every year recently because the state of Maryland mandates that you have to do they tell you whether you have to do a constant yield hearing, and we received our notice in that we had to do it. So tonight, for the first part of the meeting, will be our constant yield hearing. And this will be an opportunity. I'm going to read off the meeting rules. Under the meeting rules, for any kind of a public hearing, first of all, the regulations state that the council will be seated as if for the town council meetings, which everyone is seated, the legible name tags, and a lectern for comment by the public. The public will be speaking from here, those who would like to make comments. The time, date, and location of the hearings will be advertised at least 2 weeks prior to the scheduled date to allow interested parties to decide whether and what extent they will participate. The mayor and his or her designee will preside at hearings. Citizens may ask questions and make statements not to exceed 3 minutes in length. Residents of the town, whether property owners or renters, may participate in clarifying questions and obtain answers. To the extent they are available, copies of documents will be posted and available for those in attendance. The copies of the notice that went in the paper are on the table. Everyone can pick up a copy there. It's right there for your convenience. The discretion of the presiding official will be relied upon to exclude incompetent, irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitive statements. All petitions will be considered, but usually the council would not decide on the substance of any petition during the hearing itself. So these are the rules for a public hearing. And now we're about to get started on our constant yield hearing for April 19th. The year is 2023. The time is 7:46 p.m. So at this time, I would like to have our treasurer give you a little preview of what the constant yield hearing is for people who may not be familiar, because most people that have lived in municipalities per se are familiar with the constant yield hearings, and sometimes the way it's worded, it might seem like it's a regular tax increase, but it is a hearing for a constant yield that's done on a yearly basis. So, Ms. Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, and staff. My name is Susan Walker, and I serve as the treasurer for the town of Fairmount Heights. And as Mayor Martin said, the state determines whether you have to have what they call a constant yield hearing. That basically means that the tax rate that is currently in place, which is 43 cents per $100 of assessed value, if keeping the rate at 43 cents is going to yield additional income next year, then that is considered a tax increase. Even though you're not changing the rate, because you would receive more income, because the town will receive more income, that's considered not to be constant. So you have to have a hearing if you want to keep the rate where it is, or if you want to raise it above the 43 cents. To receive the same income next year, the tax rate would have to be lowered to 40 cents per $100 of assessed value. If you set it at that rate, then it is estimated that that the town would receive the same revenue for next year. So because it's at 43 cents, we are not exempt from having a hearing. And then the state lets you know the guidelines for having a hearing. They tell you how the ad has to be published. They tell you when it has to be published, within what time frame it has to be published, And then they also tell you how you have to notify the citizens. And so the notification has to be either put in a newspaper or it has to be distributed to the citizens. The notification says it has to be mailed to the citizens. However, upon speaking with the state and getting verification as well from the Assistant Attorney General, the publication can also be hand-delivered. So Fairmount Heights sent the notification in the newspaper as well as they hand-delivered it. So that's just a quick summary of the reason that you have to have a hearing this evening. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, I'm going to create the opportunity so that any citizen or resident of the town, whether it's a homeowner or renter, will be able to come forward and state your concerns. You could sit here, I think, so everyone who is on Zoom will be able to hear you or see you, or the TV station is here also. So if you would like to have testimony, if you would please form an orderly procession here to sit so that we can get an assessment of the community feel about this constant yield tax rate. If you have questions, you can also come forward. At this time, you may begin to do that.
State their names so I can write it.
Yes. Would you please state your name, Mr. Jackson?
My name is Paul Jackson. I reside at 714 62nd Avenue, Fairmount Heights. We've been here more than 28 years. We've seen a lot, and there has been a lot that has caused disenchantment. I'm not one to come here this evening with a list of complaints, but my concerns are several. My wife is not here, but she impressed upon me to be here this evening on her behalf. We dealt with things on our street that it took several years to bring to a resolution. We pay our property taxes. We have been doing it for over 28 years, but we don't feel that what we've incurred has been representative of what should have been forthcoming for us as residents. And it's left us somewhat disenchanted. And it's hard for me to share with my daughters that this is something that they should embrace as far as our residents is concerned, when they are talking about other municipalities. They observed what we've endured within those 28 years. And it also speaks bigger to them than what we can convey personally. We made a commitment to solar because we care about the planet, and it was economically feasible because it had benefits with it. And the benefits have been substantial, and I'm a very happy, I'm very happy with the solar. But one thing left me peeved. $5,000 was to come to me, and those $5,000 did not. And it was communicated to me that the money that had been appropriated had run out. And I had no recourse. But they said that I would be on a list that would be realized in 2029. Now that's 5 years from now. So I'm really not focusing on that. This evening, I basically want to say to all who have ears to hear that our taxes are substantial. We pay high property taxes. And no one is telling us that any kind of relief is coming or that the taxes may be lowered. what was communicated was something that gave the impression that it would be an increase. So I came here for clarification. 43 cents, I understand that. Lowering it to 40 cents so that money can come into this municipality, I understand that. But it still doesn't offset the financial obligation we have in our taxes, which I think are significant. And nobody has been able to respond to that directly. One last thing, and I'll take my seat. It was communicated that seniors would be able to have some tax relief. But I haven't got any specifics along those lines, and I need that. That would be a little consoling as opposed to an increase. Okay. All right, but I'm still perturbed about the response of the traffic up and down the street. We haven't had anything to slow down the traffic. We see that they come and pave certain streets, but they leave our streets unpaved. They do half up the street and leave the lower half unpaved. You know, it's not good. And it has yet to be resolved. So that's a sticking point. Trash pickup used to be 2 days. Now it's like one.
No.
Friday and Tuesday?
Tuesday and Friday.
Okay, Friday and Tuesday. Okay, but it's been a lot of things that we received in the mail where it wasn't going to be picked up.
Not very often. They had a holiday,
I understand
a town
the holiday.
holiday,
Right.
and so it fell on a Friday. So they have to have 14 holidays for the state. That's a requirement. So it was one Friday that they did. Normally, you always get your trash pickup on Tuesday and Friday. And I'm not going to actually go into the comment
You don't
part, but
have
I
to.
wanted to just discuss with you the whole issue about tax relief. Do you know it's been passed and it will go into effect for your tax bill coming up? If you have lived in your home for 10 years, if you're 65 years old, and if the value of your house does not exceed $500,000, you're going to get a 20% decrease in your taxes. So that is here. It's in the books. All you have to do is fill out the paperwork, and it's going to happen.
Okay.
So make sure it's the Department of Taxes and Assessments. They have the forms. You can go online and get the forms. Make sure you fill it out because we have to do our part. See, a lot of times people don't really understand. You know, they say, well, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. But if you don't go and do the research, there's a lot you might miss out on. So make sure you do that. Get that form, and you will get the 20% reduction. It was passed. The county council passed that. So
Okay.
that's going to happen. The trash, it's picked up on every Tuesday and every Friday. And one thing about it, most people really give kudos to Public Works because they get out there and they do it regardless of the weather, whether it's hot, cold, raining, they out there. They are out there. We don't have a lot of trash that's, sitting around. Once people put it out, they pick it up. Same thing with the leaves and everything else. There might be some other things that might not always, like we're trying to work on getting access to sweeping the streets and keeping it up. But all of this is happening because now we have get a system in place, and it's happening. And another thing I wanted to address before I move on from you, Mr. Jackson, is our tax rate is 0.43 per 100. Look at your county website or look at tax rates per se. Ours is the lowest just about in any part of the state of Maryland. 0.43. People talking about they want to be like Chevrolet or whatever. Theirs might be like either 0.82. A lot of them are 0.78. They even go up into the 90s. They are high. They are high. So,
Okay.
it's not like, so you just got to do your research.
Well,
you got to do your research.
I know my 3 minutes are up, but I have one last thing. The resident, I think, what is it, 6 where the lady used to live at?
Miss Wayne?
Right, okay. She's no longer there,
Right,
but it's fenced in.
okay,
But behind the fence
okay,
is a lot,
okay.
okay? And we don't want a rodent situation there, and it needs to be cleaned up,
Okay,
okay? So we need to know that some action is taken to bring that about.
Okay.
Because the ownership has changed.
has changed.
Yes.
It has changed.
So-
And it's their responsibility to keep the maintenance up on it, even though it, like you said, it's sealed off, but behind that
Yes,
gate,
right.
it's supposed to be clean regardless.
But it's not.
Yeah, okay, so you have to report that, that's another thing too.
Report it to
We-
him.
You report to code enforcement,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, and then he'll go out and take a look at it, and he'll make sure that the owners are aware of the problems there, and then we can move forward with
Talking
it.
about Pinckney?
Mr. Pinckney?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Jackson,
all right.
that $5,000 you made mention of, is that something, could you elaborate on that? Is that something the town is responsible for?
Well, when you make the commitment to solar, there are a lot of things that come to you as far as perks, like, okay? Before Congress increased it to 30%, it was 25% relief as far as your taxes were concerned. So what was 7,000 last year turned out to be 8,000 this year. So we're anticipating that. That's good news. The $5,000 that I made reference to, and I went to the Curry Administration Building or whatever, and they said that the money that had been appropriated has been exhausted,
Uh-huh,
okay? And now there's a waiting list for those who qualify for this 5,000, but it won't be realized until 2029 or 2030.
okay.
That is the responsibility of the county or?
Excuse me?
Is that the county's responsibility or incentive program
That's what the state of Maryland,
or the state of Maryland?
yeah, they promised that
Okay,
because it was an incentive to make the commitment towards solar, right? It made it enticing. This was like, okay, if you do this, this is what you would realize. The tax benefit, the $5,000 come into you, and then the SRACs. The SRACs are funds that come to you periodically from the solar use that you haven't tapped into.
Yeah.
And that has been nice, and I've enjoyed that immensely.
but good.
But it still doesn't negate the $5,000 that was not realized.
Okay, so that's the county issue, so make sure that you take that up with someone, and I don't know what department handles that, but you're gonna have to contact them, because you know the town didn't make any promises
No,
about
no.
giving back 5,000, so
No.
you're definitely gonna have to take that up with
I
the
went
county
to,
or the,
yeah,
yeah,
to Curry Administration Building
Okay.
to talk to them,
yeah,
and they communicated that it's a waiting list,
yes, okay,
okay? Because the
All right.
funds have not been replenished or whatever. They have been exhausted,
okay.
right?
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here tonight. We appreciate you. All right, the next person that would like to make comments or have questions, you all can come here to the chair.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Is this only for tax yield questions?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Real quick, Treasurer, Miss, how you doing? I just wanted to know, when was the last time our tax yield was increased?
I don't have the year because it was decreased. It went from 46 cents down to 43 cents. I don't know what year that was. So it was increased. Mayor Martin, remember when we went from 43 to 46? Was that 2019?
It could have
18, 19?
possibly, we need to verify that.
Okay, so
Yeah, but
last year-
I can't just, put a year out there.
All right, so
Yeah.
last year it was decreased.
No, last year it stayed at 43. It went down from 46 to 43, and then last year for the same hearing, it stayed at 43 cents. I don't know what year it went from 46 to 43.
But it has not increased in several years.
It has not gone back up, no.
All right. When it comes to finding the list, is tax yield only impacting municipalities?
The constant yield impacts municipalities.
All right, so constant yield, so when you see constant yield, it's only for municipalities.
I'm not gonna say only.
Okay.
But for non-county residents, we don't get, I don't know that we get a vote in that. I mean, non-municipal residents, I don't know that we get a vote in that. Like, I'm not in a municipality anymore.
Okay.
So I don't, maybe I missed a meeting, maybe it's open to everyone, but I don't get a meeting like this. Municipalities, though, you have to have a meeting if you're gonna have additional income.
All right. So is it based on how, the value of your home?
It's the assessed value of your home. So some people at 43 cents, is it okay if I come up so y'all can turn around? Is it okay if I come
Sure,
up? Okay.
sure.
So it's my understanding that it's based upon the assessed value of your property. So the value of your property today at 43 cents per $100 may yield X. But if your property is assessed a higher value, then that same 43 cents would yield additional revenue. So that's why it's considered an increase. But it is based upon your property's assessed value. And so it's my understanding too that as property owners, we have the right to challenge our assessed value of our property. And so often what homeowners are doing is if they feel their value has been assessed is too high, then you have the right to challenge that. Does that answer your question?
That answers my question.
Okay.
So because the county charges non-residents, they have it labeled in your taxes. If you live in your home, you are, they say primary residence. If you don't, it says non-primary residence. And because of the location of Fairmount Heights, we're getting a lot of renters. So we're getting a lot of investment properties. Is there a way to consider the yield for those income generating properties?
That's a question I don't have an answer to, but I will get one. I'll
Okay,
find out.
all right, all right. I think that's my, because
I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget that.
absolutely, yeah. Mayor Martin, I think you answered, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to see a list of how much other municipalities are paying.
You have
Okay,
it.
all right.
Okay.
So I just thought maybe they would be printed out or something, but if you can tell us what the link is, because we don't have businesses.
Right.
Like a lot of, so to say Chevrolet pays this much, Chevrolet also has a lot of businesses that
Yes.
help pay that. So I guess maybe you guys are going to take the vote tonight to whether or not to raise it. And what is the county saying they want to raise it to?
Well,
Or the state?
the town,
The town. What is the
Yeah.
town saying they want to raise it to?
we didn't really have the recommendation. We knew that it was mandatory to have the hearing, so we decided to do that because we're on a timeline with that. And our information has to go back by what date, Ms. Walker, as to what our rate is going to be?
So what you are deciding tonight is you are deciding, are you going to keep it at 43 cents, which technically is considered a tax increase, but for purposes of changing it, that's not really an increase in amount, because you're not changing it from 43 cents to 44 cents. Or are you going to roll it back to the 40 cent, which would give you approximately the same income that we've received this year? You're estimated to get that same income next year, or are you going to do something in between? So the question tonight is not whether the town is just going to go above 43 cents. Once the mayor and council hear from citizens, then the decision would be made, are they going to keep it at 43 cents? Are they going to go up, or are they going to go back? So it doesn't have to be that it's going to be an amount that goes up. As far as when we have to have this back, so we have to have this back within 15 days of when the tax rate was set. So the tax rate gets set, it takes effect July 1st. But if we say tonight that you're going to have 43 cents, have 42 cents, have 44 cents, whatever you say tonight, it's my understanding that we have 15 days from this date to get the form back. And so, if I may, I'll just read what the form is, that you know what form you're sending back. And it says, Maryland Department of Assessments and Taxation, all taxing authorities, department notification, constant yield rate notice. Please complete the form and return the form to Department of Assessments and Taxation. Please choose one of the following actions. 1, the taxing authority has established a tax rate not in excess of the constant yield tax rate and will respond to the department within 15 days of when the rate was set. So not in excess would be 40 cents. The taxing authority plans to exceed the constant yield tax rate and will provide the department with a copy of the entire page containing the notice from the published newspaper or a copy of the dated notice that was mailed to each property taxpayer within 15 days of either the date of the newspaper advertisement or the date the notice was mailed to each taxpayer. 3, the taxing authority plans to exceed the constant yield rate. However, they are exempt from section 6308 of the taxing property article and will respond to the department within 15 days of when the tax rate was set. Okay?
Whoa. Okay, and last, what newspaper is it advertised in?
There's a copy there, Sherry, on the table.
What's the name of the newspaper?
It's in the Gazette, the
Oh, right.
Inquirer Gazette.
The Inquirer Gazette?
There's a copy right here, and on the back is the certification of publication.
Okay,
It's right here.
all right, thank you.
We are right to the left. Fairmount Heights is to the left, and Morningside is to the right of this notice here. So we made sure. You all can pick up a copy of it when you get ready to go, or you can pick it up now. Okay. All right, is there anyone else that wanted to come and sit here to talk about, have questions, or want to make a comment about the constant yield rate? If you would like to, you're more than free to come on. Anyone else? Okay. At this time, if we don't have other members from the audience that are sitting here in the building, do we have any questions online?
Madam Mayor, I
Uh-huh.
don't see
Okay, okay. All right. So, council members, this is really an opportunity, if everyone has had the time to review the constant yield rate and what we actually have to vote on, and we're going to have to do it in a separate meeting. I remember there was an issue about that last year, about doing it in the same meeting, even though this meeting here is going to be what we're going to use as a bridge over to our regular town meeting. So I can't remember. It seems like last year, how was that? I can't remember exactly, Mr. Rimmer, how we did. It seemed like it was some discrepancy about we had to do a separate meeting. We couldn't do it at the same time that we had the discussion and made any kind of decision on it. So let's just say we're just going to have to do it in a separate meeting. Now, if I'm not mistaken, though, it seems like we reconvened the separate meeting and we took the vote then. And it seems like it was possible. Now, one of those times I remember we came back for another separate day. Now, we are going to be here on the 25th to do the budget workup. If we could possibly do the official vote, because the 25th is just 3 or 4 days away. If you all would like to have some discussion tonight, and then we come back on the 25th, and then we'll do an official vote on what our constant yield would be, we can do it that way. But I'm going to give you the opportunity now that we could have some discussion about it. I'm going to start over on my left here, Councilmember Waiters. I'm going to go all the way down to the end. I don't know whether Councilmember Wood Dotson is on the line. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, you can go on and start with her. If we can. Okay.
Excuse me. No, I don't
because you're in front of the mic.
Mm-hmm.
know.
You can't.
She was calling for Councilman Wood Dawson since she came in.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't.
Oh, you,
She's not on. Yeah, she can go on first. She can go first. I just
Yeah,
wanted
go
comments or statements from the council first. And then we will, on the 25th, if everyone is in agreement, we could go on and take that vote as to what our constant yield would be.
Okay, I still muted.
Okay.
Okay, she's up.
Okay.
Can you hear me? He's asking.
Mrs. Beck, can you hear her? Can you hear her? Can you hear her? Councilman Wood Dawson, can you hear her? Can you hear her?
She's muted. She's
Okay.
muted. She said, her question there was, is there any way that she can, you can go and sequential order and she takes her place the way you normally do?
Oh, okay. She can. All right, we'll start then. Councilmember Waiters, we'll start with you. If you have any comment on the, how you feel the constant year should go. And I think it's going to be important too that we address the issues. If we set our constant yield at a certain fee, what the good that can come out of it for this community. And one thing that we really have to think in terms of, now we have a police department that we have not had up until recently. We had in October, we had a new chief that came on. We have new equipment, new cars, we have everything. And we're going to need to keep this operational. Now, we do have some ARPA funding that's in the budget that we're using, but once we start getting salaries and everything else starts to roll, and you're going to need something that you can fall back on to keep that program going. And I know most of the citizens that have come, regardless of what kind of meeting it's been, they said they have a real desire to have a police department here. And so it's very important, and I know I look here, Mr. Pickney's here also, we really need to have code enforcement, we need a police department. So in reference to what was said on that notice about I think it was like 30, I can't remember exactly what the dollar amount was, what we would gain, it was $37,000 or?
36.
Okay.
36,250.
Yeah, so that 36,000 could very well be used to keep operations going as far as the police department is concerned. Now, right now, we're not really that worried about it because, like I said, we have the ARPA funding and we're using that. But we're gonna, as you go on down the road, you have paydays coming every 2 weeks. You have other equipment that you might need. It's a lot with that. And even though the chief is reaching out for every avenue as far as the speed cameras, the red light cameras, and a lot of other entities, we don't have those in operation yet. So in order to keep us fluid, we have to think down the road as to how we would do that. And, if even that 36,000, it would allow us to have some leverage to work with. So I'm saying that was just a statement off the top for me. I'm going to go down the list here and let the council members give some statements about how you feel about it, or if you would like to make a comment, you can. And then we'll take the official vote on the 25th. Right before, we'll convene a separate meeting and have that vote, and then we'll go into the budget.
So, Madam Mayor, my comment, good evening. Wait. Sorry. My comment, having received the information that we've received, particularly Mr. Jackson's statement, as well as former council member Downing, and the notes that I've made, the return on the investments for an increase in the tax yield means for me more services for what it stands. I don't really, this is just my comment, I don't think we provide enough services for what we're already getting. I don't know about an increase, but as for right now, I'm milling over what we have received. And my question would be, I know this is a hearing for citizen input, and there are individuals that are online they haven't said anything thus far. Would this be the end of citizen input? This is it?
Well, this is the hearing
Tonight.
for that purpose, yes. And the citizens that's why I went to the citizens that were in the room first, and then we went to the line, and then now I'm going to the council. And then once we resolve this, we're going to actually close out this constant yield hearing and go into the regular meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, my replies, I made notes considering the increase versus staying where we are and or rolling it back. And I'll make my decision, even the $36,000, council member.
So do you consider
consider us? Like, do you say, what do you guys want? And then, like, we raise our hand or something, do we?
Well,
think that's what we just
when I
did.
read the notice that talked about the public hearings, it said that the decision will be made by the mayor and the council. That's why we gather the information. And then, it's going to be a period of a few days. So when we come back, we'll make the decision. It'll be on the 25th before we go into the budget workup. And we'll make that official decision, and then we can move it on. But that's what we're taking, the information that we're gathering, and then we formulate it into a decision. It's going to be, the ultimate decision will be made. See, it says all petitions will be considered, but usually the council would not decide on the substance of any petition during a hearing. So this is called petition when you have the testimony part of it. Yeah, so that's the way that works.
Like, if I say, like, do you know where we are? Do you know how we feel, whether we want it to be raised, whether we want it to stay the same? Do you know how we feel?
Well,
Is it something that
I
we-
don't really know. That's why I gave everyone the opportunity. I think that's a question that probably could be asked, but I wanted the council to have the opportunity to give their feelings about whether yay or nay as to how they think we should proceed, even though we won't make the final decision tonight.
Okay. But I'm for staying the same. I don't think 36,000, and hasn't the county raised taxes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, 36,000 is not enough on the backs of the citizens. I think with grants, you guys can raise $36,000.
Mm-hmm.
So for Councilwoman Downing, I'm sorry, Sherry Downing, 5528 K Street, I'm not for raising. And I didn't know if you had some place where we wrote down yes or no. Is
I mean,
it something-
each person, can come up. That's why you have the opportunity to come and speak on whether you're in favor of it, and that's what the hearing is all about.
Right.
Whether you're in favor and express how you feel about it. But no one has done that.
All right, so maybe we didn't know that we're supposed to go up and say
Okay.
no.
Well, yes, if we can
So
have a
now we
few
know.
people.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Well-
that definitely wasn't clear. I think for anybody that may not necessarily have a comment, wouldn't come up versus knowing that if you just need to speak your piece, you can still come up and say if you're for it or not, so to speak, is what she's saying.
All right.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, if you all would prefer having the vote on it once we go all the way down, let the council members have some comments, I can actually do that. That's not a problem. So, we can do it. I think we've done that in previous years. It's not really a problem. We just have to know the feel of the community, and you can't know just until someone actually brings that in. Yeah. So, if you all want to finish up, and I'm going to go all the way down, then.
Yeah, I was finished, but per the response, so we're going to go back and have the citizens.
Once everybody has the opportunity to speak, and then we'll go back and I can just find out whether the preference is to maintain, or, because I think we probably did something like that, something similar to that before, where a lot of people said, let's maintain it at .43, or, raise it, or, but, you had options, the options.
Okay, I just want to be clear, we're further considering, because we did shift, we're further considering to go back and hear the preference of the citizens.
Yeah. Okay.
And the citizens that we don't have on the line, Madam Mayor, just so you know, on Zoom, the Cyfex is there.
Okay. Okay.
1 second or something. Is that
Okay.
it, Miss
No,
Dr. Span?
no, no report.
Somebody has an iPhone,
I'm not sure who I am.
so it's 2 or 3 people on the line.
Okay. All right.
Kim Gladney.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you have further
No,
comments?
I'm done.
You're
I
finished?
need to hear, yeah.
Okay, Councilmember Oscar.
I know, based on what's going on with inflation and everything, and people have a lot of difficulty meeting ends meet, and expenses have risen for the past couple of months. Although it seemed like a small increase, that maybe for some it might be quite significant. And like and to meet those extra payments might be something substantial, and they might not be able to accommodate that in the spending. Keep it like that, as Mayor said, quite frankly, that the town has been really trying to improve on its services to the citizens, and by increasing some of our services, we obviously need resources to do that. And relying on a fixed income is not.
Councilmember, someone's asking that you speak directly to the mic so that they can hear.
So I was saying, like, relying on something that's a fixed income from the ARPA funds, that's not really something that we could, that's sustainable. Mm-hmm. So having the small increase would definitely, or keeping it the way it is so that we have additional income of maybe, I think, 36,000, would go a long way in meeting the needs of the town. But also, this is why I was really wanting to hear from the citizens themselves and see how they feel about it before I can actually make a decision and understand what direction you want to go to. But left up to me to make a decision, I would probably leave it as it is, as I know the income that is being generated would go a long way to help or assist the town business.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Councilmember White.
Good evening. Hi. I, for one, have really considered everyone's opinions in terms of the tax amount. And personally, I believe in keeping it the same at the 43 cents. Right now, the town is kind of in a state of expansion and sustainability. So in terms of getting the new police department going, which, we have done in the past couple of months, and expansion of services, specifically public works, getting the new supervisor, as well as us working towards the equipment upkeep, as well as purchasing of new equipment. I think keeping it the same right now would benefit us, and also I feel like you citizens would really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilmember. Councilmember Barnhart.
As a resident of the town of Fairmount Heights, with the rest of my neighbors and my other people here as a council, I will also agree to keep it at 43%. There's a lot of need for this town that we all know, as far as equipment, as far as public works, a new police department. It's a lot of stuff that needs to happen here at the town. So I would agree that we keep it at 43%.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Councilmember Stewart.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. I will agree with the rest of my council members that I would vote to remain at 43%. I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I went to see Pleasant's constant yield meeting, and they put on a very nice presentation and broke down how this constant yield rate works, who's taxing us the most, whether it's county, state, or municipality, and it's all in here. But compared to other areas around here, so Fairmount Heights is paying 0.43%. Capitol Heights is a little lower at 0.39%, but Capitol Heights has a lot of businesses. Mm-hmm. Cheverly, we talked about Cheverly. Their rate is 4.489%. Again, Cheverly has a lot of businesses, but it's still kind of high, right? But you see how Cheverly's community looks. Let's do one more. District Heights, 0.70. I'm sorry, 0.70. My bad. Mm-hmm. Again, District Heights has a lot of businesses, but why is their municipal real tax that high? It's kind of high, right? So we're in the middle of we're not as high as a Cheverly or a College Park, and we're not as low as a Capitol Heights, but we're comparable. So I will vote to keep it at 43%, and we can use that additional $37,000 to purchase equipment for Public Works, the police department, and really make a change in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember. Councilmember,
Yeah, she was unmuted, but we have to have.
is she unmuted now?
She's on, yeah, she's on.
Okay, she has the opportunity to speak now if she's unmuted. And then I'm going to do exactly what you all suggested. We'll just get a show of hands for the people who want to maintain .43 and those who don't.
I don't know who's, someone has to open. I'm not in front of the mic, so you won't be able to hear. One of you is in front of the mic, she's speaking.
Okay.
But one of you that has a mic, you need to open yours, so that's why I asked for it.
Okay. Is yours open, Councilmember Barnhart?
Okay, one moment, you're speaking, but they're not able to.
Hold on.
Okay.
Ask her to speak.
Okay, okay, can you speak now?
Wait.
Go ahead.
How you doing?
It's not doing it now.
Yes, you can hear it now. You can proceed now, Councilmember.
I'm on headphones. You're saying I can speak now?
Yes, you can.
Okay, my suggestion would be to allow it to stay as it is until services, we could, get more services in the community, but we are unevenly populated. I don't want anything changed 40.43.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you all very much for your opinions. At this time, I'm going to go on and just get the response. If no one else from the community would like to make comments, at this time, I would like to get the feedback as far as the hand vote as for the people who would like to leave the constant yield. Can they hear me?
Whatever that is, we.
Okay. All right. I would like to get a hand vote for the people who are in the audience this evening, for those who would like to leave the constant yield at .43. First of all, I'll do that one first, and then we'll get the count. So, okay, can you all please raise your hands, those who would like to leave the constant yield at .43. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 10. Okay. Okay. And those that want to decrease it to lower. Okay, and that's one person, one citizen? How many?
It was 2.
Okay, I didn't see another hand. Oh, okay, all right. All right. So the decision from the citizens is to,
On the line.
huh? There's somebody on the line. How many people on the line?
Ms. Glad, Ms. Syfax, and Ms. Clark.
So what is their desire?
Kim Gladden said decrease.
So that would be 3 to decrease, okay? And then what about the other 2?
Ms. Clark said decrease.
Okay, so that would be 4 for decrease. Was that it?
Let me see if it's
And when they say say decrease, what rate would they like to see it at?
Well, see, that was the thing, the last time it was suggested, that somebody suggested like 40 or something like that, but,
The individual.
yeah.
The article
So-
in the paper says in order to fully offset the effect
Mhm.
of increased assessments, the real property tax should be reduced
Mhm.
to .4037.
Uh-huh, okay. All right, so if we get the information, so far we have 10 who are saying leave it at .43, and we have 4 who say decrease it. So we didn't put the plug in for point whatever, but we just said a decrease period, because we have the majority who are saying leave it at .43. So,
It's like you have a majority on council.
okay.
The same, correct?
Yeah, and so what we're gonna do is, we have one more person online. Once they give their opinion, then we're about to close this out, and we're going into a regular meeting. Is the other person available? We needed one more person, I think, that was in the
Ms. Syfax.
Zoom. What was the answer?
Ms. Syfax voted to decrease.
Did she say
Okay.
decrease?
Okay, wait a minute, somebody else?
Councilmember Morgan.
Okay.
Okay, what was it, for decrease or
Decrease.
decrease?
She
Okay.
said increase.
Oh, increase, so that,
Increase? Okay, she said increase.
okay, so she wants it at .43. Okay, so that's 11. 11 for .43. And what was it, the last person?
She said increase, right?
Okay,
So-
she said keep it the same.
Okay,
Syfax.
okay, so that's 12 for maintain .43. And that would be 4 for decrease. Uh-huh,
Just for clarity,
uh-huh.
she said increase, but you can't say that that's .43. I think there should be clarity on Ms. Morgan, what she means by increase. Does she mean the same, or does she mean to go above the .43?
Okay, well, we're gonna have to ask her then,
I mean,
because
by your
she's on the line.
explanation, when you said .43, you
Mhm.
consider that an increase, yes?
Mhm.
So maybe she's going by that logic.
I know, but I'm just
Okay.
saying, just because you're asking, if you asked the citizens here, do you want 43 cents, and you said if you want to decrease, what would that be? Are you saying .40? And then she said increase. I'm just saying for clarification.
But we're
Okay.
only entertaining .43 and .4.
I understand that, I'm just saying
Okay.
clarification. She said increase, everyone else said stay the same,
Mhm.
decrease. She said increase.
Oh, okay. So, well, does she mean stay the same by mentioning increase?
Okay.
Mayor can ask.
I can't. Okay, whose line is she open on? I don't know whose line she's open on. Whoever has her open on the line, just ask her, does she want to maintain .43, or does she want to decrease it? Or, what is her pleasure?
Put it in chat.
Councilmember Morgan.
Yeah.
Councilmember Morgan.
Mhm.
Councilmember Morgan. Oh, she's on the iPhone, okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry. So for clarity, the members in the body and those in the audience wanted you to understand that it's not necessarily increased, but staying the same at 43% or decreasing to 40%. Those are the numbers. So we want I'm sorry, hold on. Ms. Walker, can you come and explain to her so that it comes,
My point just
She-
for
Keep it the same.
My point, just for clarification, is you're saying, do you want to keep it the same at .43? Do you want to set a rate that's lower than .43? Or are you saying set a rate that's higher? When she said increase, is she saying set a rate that's above .43? Just for clarification, so that you make sure you have what her desire is.
she said set a rate that's higher.
Higher? Okay, well, she's the only person that said that. Okay. All right, so we have 12 for maintaining, one for a rate that's higher, and 4 for a decrease. Okay. So that's our count. So, did everyone hear?
I don't know, someone else came on, but I don't know what the.
It says, I'm trying to recognize the number, I think. I'm sorry.
But did they put a comment in?
Just
Okay.
joined via
Okay,
conference.
but that's fine. I was trying just to get this count. I have the count here. 12 for maintaining a .43, 4 for,
11.
oh, it's 11, okay. Okay. All right, 4 for a decrease in the constant yield, and 1 for a rate higher. Okay. All right, so council members, everyone has had the opportunity to give your comments, and I think that the community has had the opportunity to speak, and everyone has had the opportunity to say whether you prefer one method or another. If you feel satisfied with that, at this time, I'm going to accept a motion for adjournment of this hearing, and we're going to go into our regular town meeting.
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
A second.
It's been properly moved and seconded.
Who seconded?
That was Councilmember Stewart seconded. So we will go in, is that 8:35 or 8:36? We're going into our regular meeting tonight. Yes, that was good. All right, thank you all so much for coming. I want to start off this meeting by saying, first of all, I think most of you all are aware this is my last town meeting here. We'll be having a budget work session, and we'll do the final workup so that we can get the constant yield information down to where it belongs, so they'll know where we stand on that. But your opinions have been well taken. I want to thank you all very much for coming. I think that as I leave here, I leave so many years of service, but it is something that was done, I felt there was a need. So I stayed here all this time. It's not just like I was just sitting around here just to be sitting. I was sitting here to contribute to the fiber of this community. And without it, who knows where we would have been. We probably wouldn't even be considering any of this. We might not even have a constant yield or anything else. So praise be to God, because he's the only one that kept me. Only one that kept me. Yeah, so we're going to move down into our regular meeting. And to start off, I'm going to call this meeting to order. And the time is, I think that's 8:45. Should be close to 8:45. 8:30. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, so since we're going to a regular meeting, I'm going to call, at this time we'll do our flag salute. If everyone will please stand. And if you join me as we salute the flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. You may be seated. We have, well, first of all, let's just call the roll. And Madam Clerk to the Council, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Martin,
Present.
Councilmember Waiters,
Present.
Councilmember Stewart,
Present.
Councilmember White,
Present.
Councilmember Wood Dodson, Councilmember Barnhart,
Present.
Councilmember Oscar.
Present.
All present.
All right. Thank you very much to everyone. And we're going to move on down. We have several sets of minutes. Now, I don't know how, whether most of the council members have had the opportunity to review your minutes. Have you had that opportunity?
Yes.
Because we have several sets, and we could approve these tonight if everyone has had the opportunity to review.
There's only several steps that they don't have. That's still what you have.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to make sure it's those.
I can go on and,
Table.
oh, we can read those that are ready to be approved. If you all are ready to approve, I can read, that's the January 24th town meeting, the January 31st closed session, and that's one of the ones that we'll read into the record anyway, because we have to make sure we put those in the record. February the 23rd special meeting, and March 22nd closed session. So if you all have had the opportunity, I think on those, we could probably move forward and approve those. You have all of those in your possession now because we received the rest of those this evening. And some of the other ones, you probably already received those in your email. So at this time, I will accept the motion for approval of our January 24th town meeting minutes, our January 31st closed session minutes, our February 23rd special meeting, and our March 22nd closed meeting.
I would like to make a correction to, hold on, I don't know why I took my glasses off. The February 23rd meeting, page 3, the last paragraph, it says Councilwoman Wright fiscal year, only a few months left. There is some money left from communications. Maybe, Mayor Martin, can you have the information ready for bulk mail? Councilwoman Stewart, can you see how many millions we can do in a month? I didn't say the word million.
Oh, okay. All right, so
Mailing.
those need
Yes, it's
corrected.
supposed to be
Mailings.
not millions.
Mailing. Okay.
Right.
Okay,
That's the only thing I saw. Thank you, Dr. Spain.
okay.
You're welcome. Thank you for catching me.
Okay, so is there anything else before we go forward with the approval of these that have been circled? Now, the other ones, you all are gonna have to keep up with them because you're gonna have to get all of these approved also in the May meeting. So, May meeting, we have to get the new mayor sworn in, we have to get, these minutes need to be done. So anything we don't finalize tonight is gonna need to be finished. Okay. So if you don't see anything else, I'll just call those out again. I will accept a motion for approval of those minutes that I have named previously. The 24th January town meeting, the 23rd closed session, the 23rd special meeting, and March 22nd closed session. I will accept a motion. I need a motion.
So moved, Madam Mayor, with reservation for correction.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
I second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from January 24th, January 31st, February 23rd, and March 22nd closed session. Are there any questions on the motion? If there are no questions, Madam Clerk to the Council, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry for the interruption, but for the sake of discussion, I said with correction, and that's with reservation for receiving the corrected copies, even though.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was it.
Okay.
That was it.
All right, so, Madam Clerk to the Council, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Martin,
Aye.
Councilmember Wages,
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Wood Dotson. She said, Councilmember Barnhart. Councilmember Oscar.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, thank you very much. The ayes have it. We get, all right. Those minutes have been approved, and please remember for the May meeting to finalize the rest of these minutes because they're here and they're gonna need to be approved. At this time, we'll move down the agenda, and I have a new person to introduce to everyone. She's not new to the town, but She is going to be new to the Board of Elections. The Board of Elections needed some additional help, and the chair came to me and said, we're going to need someone to help us, you know, because you have like tomorrow night will be candidates night, and then you have the election. So to make sure that everything was fully staffed, Mrs. Shelton approached me, and she nominated one of our citizens here from 60th Place, who's lived around here forever. I can't even say how many years she's been here, but it's been a very long time. And we remember the whole family, her sister, her brothers, and everybody. They've been here. So she decided she wanted to help with the Board of Elections. So she's here tonight to be sworn in, and I would like to ask her to come forward, and we're going to get her sworn in so that she can participate in the election. Yes, that will work. All right, will you come on up here?
Mayor Martin,
Yes, ma'am. You can't hear me?
turn your mic around.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. All right, would you come on over here, Ms. Sullivan? And this is Ms. Anita Hall. She is here to be sworn. Yes, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Yes. Would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name.
Anita Hall,
Do swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and be true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill
to the best of my skill
and judgment,
and judgment,
diligently
diligently
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
without partiality
without partiality
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
execute the office
execute the office
of the Board of Elections
of the Board of Elections
for the town of Fairmount Heights,
for the town of Fairmount Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws
and the laws
of this town and state.
and this town and state.
Consider yourself duly sworn.
Consider
Yes. All right. You can sign. I'm going to sign first, and then you can sign after me.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. You sign right there to my left. Uh-huh. Yes, thank you so much. Will you all give her some applause? This is yours, Anita. You can take this. I think Ms. Tucker might already have a copy of it, so you can take that on home with you,
Thank you.
and you can go in and continue your work.
Thank you.
Yes, appreciate you, okay? All right. Okay. We appreciate you. Yes.
So can we find out from her if a lot of our new residents are on the voter registration list?
Yes, now, I think Mrs. Shelton has that master, has the list, so you could probably find out, get the verification. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. You all have a good night. All right. Thank you, Greg. Okay. All right. That's wonderful. Wonderful. All right, you all. So we're going to go on down the agenda. We have some other, I don't think the chief made it back, did he, Mr. Pinckney? All right, now, I know that he had some training. As a matter of fact, I think it might have been a few days this week, they were in some kind of training, and I didn't hear anything else, so I just assumed that he had some training. Do we have the report, council member?
I do, I have it.
Okay, would you read that, council member? Read that into the record, and then I'll get to you, Mr. Pinckney.
So this is the public safety report for April, the month of April. The town of Fairmount Heights had a total of 10 calls for service for the month of April. He also conducted patrols along with assistant code enforcement office. 6 calls to the station along with continued concerns and issues brought to my attention by the mayor and council members. Field interviews were conducted of suspicious vehicles along the 700 block of 61st Avenue, Ebony Inn Business District, and Paul's Liquor Store. Continued patrols along Eastern Avenue corridor for prostitution activity. Domestic violence dispute involving both parties engaged in a physical altercation with one another. The male defendant had fled the scene while the female defendant remained on the scene and refused medical attention. There were no life-threatening injuries. One recovered stolen vehicle out of Washington, D.C. and Virginia were recovered, which happens in this local area frequently. That's his report. Now, he gave other information during work session, but I don't want to, I don't recall everything he said, but this was his report here.
Okay, no, that's fine, thank you. All right.
He did give us more.
Mr. Pinckney, would you please come forward? I think you can probably be heard from this, I guess that mic is probably working.
I have a revised copy of my report.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Stepping up the game, I see.
Stop it. Okay. Good evening to the mayor, council, and the members of the residents of the town of Fairmount Heights. Before I do my report, I would just like to read this. To Mayor Martin, since this will be your last town meeting, as mayor, I would like to say congratulations for your 32 years of dedicated service to the town of Fairmount Heights. I would also like to thank you for letting me be a part of your administration for the last 9 years. I pray that your remaining years will be filled with good health, because good health is everything. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the council members. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the council members who took part in the food distribution of food items on past Sunday. It was a wonderful event. Our neighbors benefited from the food items that were given. They were wonderful. I would also like to address a concern I have regarding our election process. On last week, I had 2 candidates approach me about signing their election petition for various positions in the town elections. I told one candidate that since I was an employee and a resident of the town of Fairmount Heights, that I always remained neutral and I never signed petitions, nor did I allow election signs to be placed in my yard. This candidate said they understood and thanked me for letting them know. However, the second candidate approached me, asked me to sign their petition. I told them the same thing, but this candidate asked me where was it written that an employee could not sign a petition nor have election signs placed in their property. I told that candidate that I don't know where it was written, but it was my policy as an employee to never sign any candidate's petition or have signs placed in my yard. This candidate went on to say that they had voted for me to receive a pay increase. I thought this comment was totally inappropriate and was out of line. It was as though they were saying that since they voted for me to receive a pay increase, that I was obligated to sign the petition. If I am not mistaken, the vote for my increase was done in a closed-door meeting, and I have no knowledge of who voted for my increase, nor do I want to know. If the council voted for my pay increase, it was because of my work history and nothing else. So I took offense to that council person bringing this up. I work diligently and honestly for every council person. Whenever the council asks me to do anything, I follow up and I follow through. I make sure that they know that they can count on me. At the present time, I am one of the few employees that work for and live in the town of Fairmount Heights. Our town manager, Mr. Rumi, our treasurer, Mrs. Walker, our police chief, Chief Moore, our Lieutenant Morris, and our new public work supervisor, Mr. Cradle. None of these individuals live in the town of Fairmount Heights, Maryland. Because of how I was approached by this council person, I believe this is an issue that may be presented to the Ethics Committee. I think the Ethics Committee should look into this. I believe an amendment to the town's charter is needed that should state something to the effect that no employee who lives in the town of Fairmount Heights can be asked to sign an election petition or be asked to place candidates' election signs in their yard. For me, our election process is personal, and I feel that an employee and a resident of the town, whoever one's choose to vote for, is their own personal choice. Now, this is my report for the month of March the 15th through April 19th. During this period, I have issued 20 civil citations totaling $18,750. We have collected through the District Court of Maryland $6,500 for issued citation, and a tax lien has been placed on each of these properties. Building permits. For the month of March 14th through April the 19th, we have issued 4 building permits totaling $1,143.55. There were no business licenses collected during this period. Rental licenses. For the month of March, we have received $100 for rental licenses. Vacant building registration fees. For the month of March, we have received 2 vacant building registration fees totaling $1,000. We have issued 2 stop work orders during this period. Notice of corrective action. For the month of March 14th through April the 19th, we have issued 15 corrective action notices for various violations. 8 of these violations have been corrected. Miscellaneous. A few months ago, the town paid to have the overgrown vegetation and trees removed from the majority of the alleys throughout the town. At that time, we had suggested that we should install a layer of asphalt to prevent unwanted vegetation from returning to the walkways. Now is the time to install the asphalt before the growing season gets too far gone. With the asphalt installed, it would make it much easier for the Public Works Department to maintain the public alleys and walk paths. I was informed today that the Brooks property located at 708 59th Avenue has been sold to Mr. Craig White through an auction process. I received a text message from one of our residents concerning the noise control ordinance, overweighted buses and other vehicles riding through the town. Noise control ordinance. The noise control ordinance in Prince George's County is no longer a time-based law. The noise ordinance is now in effect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and within 50 feet of a residence. This ordinance does carry a substantial fine for the homeowner. Enforcement and penalty. The police department code enforcement officer or police officer may issue a civil citation for any violation of this section not exceeding $500 for the first offense and $1,000 for each subsequent offense. As far as placing fines on buses and other overweighted vehicles, that's left up to the police department. Construction noise. Daytimes mean from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Townhouses. Our office has received several complaints concerning overgrown grass in the common areas and the raised uneven sidewalks in the mailboxes, which is a trip hazard. As far as Mr. Jackson, 708 62nd Avenue, Paragon had came and they received a new building permit, so they're in the process of renovating 708 62nd Avenue. And that's the end of my report. Any questions?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pinckney. Basically, the questions are supposed to be doing public participation, but, well, it won't be long. Yeah, all right. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Mr. Pinckney.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. At this time, I would like to have Mrs. Sarumi, if you would come forward, Ms. Sarumi.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Mayor, council, Citizens, I'm happy to see you again. Definitely happy. However, I would like to make my farewell statement. It will be not as eloquent as Mr. Pinckney's. However, I recall, I think I came the end of 2012, and we worked diligently through that period. Some of the accomplishments that we've achieved, I have to take us back to Morehouse.
Yes.
Where we
Morehouse.
received a grant from Morehouse, competitive grant in Fairmount Heights. We received the grant to use funding and to fund some of our college students. And then we took that to the Fairmount Heights High School. We educated the students in terms of their role and responsibility. And I think at the end, I know Ms. Susan can help me with that. At the end, I thought about this during Black History and just more recently, where students from Fairmount Heights had an opportunity to go to A&T University. And one of the students reported that the most outstanding benefit was when he got a chance to sit at the counter where the protests took place. Of course, that has such a personal meaning, but that's one of the great things that I know we've done together.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, we were at Pepco, and we received a check for $10,000. Lots of money. So I can we can leverage $36,000 easily. So we got a check for $10,000. I want to certainly thank Councilmember Waiters for all of her involvement, and that $10,000 will be used to clean and beautify one of the alleys. So just a few things that I want to thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm hurrying up.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin.
That's our private joke. As I was telling this, I was thinking, I know she's over there saying, taking too long. Okay, so my report is from March 10th, 2023 to April 10th, 2023. In terms of updated information, we still have not received a final franchise agreement between the town of Fairmount and Comcast. I haven't received anything, so.
I haven't either. Okay,
that's important. We do receive about $29,000 a year in income from Comcast and from Xfinity. On a sad note, Mrs. Pinkett, who joined us through CSAP, is out still on sick leave. Good news, she's out of the hospital, and I have been in touch with CSAP for a referral of a new person to come in, but I have not received any referrals back yet. Wonderful announcement. We recently hired Mr. Marvin Cradle as Supervisor of Public Works. The advantage that we have in terms of saving the town money is Mr. Cradle, this is at least the first time since I've been here, that we have a Public Works Supervisor who has a CDL, and he also drives a trash truck. He drove the trash truck last Friday and again Tuesday. And so he's getting the hang of the route, so I'm so happy. Plus he has expert computer skills. I'm just happy in terms of his knowledge, his ability, and so we're gonna make a lot of things happen with DPI. On Tuesday, one of the things that we will be doing on Tuesday, and maybe I should talk about it on the Earth Day, that we will be working, we finally set up a meeting with DPI, so Mr. Cradle can get to meet the staff. So the Public Works Department, which is under Mr. Cradle, will continue painting stormwater drains, curb cuts, no parking areas, and all the no parking areas throughout the town. This project, again, was funded from the Prince George's County Arts Council, basically was written by Councilmember Waiters, in the amount of $5,000. Public Works staff is asking residents, again, to clean up leaves in front of their property and on sidewalks. Residents are required to remove snow, ice, and also to keep their leaves and keep their sidewalks clean and free of grass growing out of cuts, because that creates a trip hazard. Earth Day, MML had a long list of projects that municipalities could participate in Earth Day. So we will celebrate Earth Day on April 22nd, 2023. And I'm asking, and I've asked the council and any citizen, I know in the past you guys have assist over at the townhouses. Y'all have assist. Okay. Okay. Please. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Great.
We want to get the mulch and stuff, but if you have flowers to donate.
Okay. Okay. When we have the meeting with DPI on Tuesday, they're going to talk about trees and shrubs to donate, and I'll let you. but any shrub or low-growing shrubbery. So thank you. I will be here. Mr. Cradle and I will be here. Yes, we will be here because we're hoping that high school, junior high and high school students sign up to participate. And what we're hoping to do is identify streets throughout the town. As you are aware, with all of the pollen and the residuals from the trees, they just flow right along with the storm water. So we're going to ask students to come in to do some street cleaning. I will come over, take pictures of your event, and again, thank you for.
About getting them their service hours.
Okay, that's basically what I'm talking about. They can get service out. Just come over. I asked the mayor today if I do not have a form from the high school or junior high school, they can come over on Saturday. We will have a sheet for them to sign-in sheet.
Yeah,
okay.
Then they go to their guidance
and then they go to their guidance
pick up
office.
the form,
right.
the service
I was
form.
going to do. I was going to
Yeah.
pick up it from Fairmount Heights High School.
Well, if you do, that's fine.
So I didn't know
Yeah.
you guys
I have
had
it.
You probably have to. Do you have some copies?
I have to make copies, but I
Okay.
have.
Oh, you have some
Yeah,
copies?
so if you have the copies, so
You
that would
leave
be
them
good.
in my box then. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and that way they could be already here. They could fill out their whole form.
perhaps I can pick them up Friday.
Yeah, you have to, I'm sorry. Hold on for a second, Councilman. It's so as you would fill out a certain part and the student has to fill out a certain part, but there's only just a small part that you fill out. They just have to be aware of, a lot of time when they come back with their community service hours, they haven't filled out all that they are supposed to fill out. So it's just a small section that you fill out. And I don't know what your hours are.
It's only from
But-
9 to 12, and Ms. Rutherford told me, because I've been working with her at DPI, and she was saying that they have to send it to they pick it up from their guidance counselor, they take it to their parents fill out a portion, and then they bring it to me as an organizer.
Okay.
And they take it back to their guidance counselor.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
There's still, what I'm saying is, if it's the same, on the back, they have a personal reflective part. That's the part that they tend to forget to fill out for the student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'm glad we have citizens here from the townhouses. This is a reminder, Net Zero Housing and Housing Initiative Partnership, otherwise known as HIP, continue to offer special services, funding, and counseling to town residents in need of home repairs or who may be behind in the mortgage. Working with HIP through the Department of Housing and Community Development, we received $650,000 in funding. All citizens are encouraged to apply. Each homeowner can apply for a grant up to $60,000. So I'm hoping that we have homeowners to come in. I notice in the townhouses, you have some houses where the siding may be buckling. I notice you have a lot of the townhouses where you have that old-fashioned air conditioning unit that's sort of leaning and hanging out. Those things can be replaced. You can make your property more energy efficient. So just give me a call, and I'll try to set up a workshop here with HIP that they can come here and apply, or they can come anyway and I can assist them in applying. Okay, some more good news, which I'm going to hold off on announcing it because I'm sure Mayor Martin will. Bond financing through the Office of Maryland State Senator Benson. Are you going to do the update on that? And again, some more great news for citizens. Economic Community Development Council member, I canceled our meeting for tomorrow because you have a forum, the election forum. Also, I already talked about the Pepco Sustainable K Street Market Circle project funded through Pepco. And so that's one of the many projects that we're working on through Economic Community Development. The Green Team meets on, we meet on the fourth Thursday in each month. Come out, I'll send you information. Participate in our Green Team since you're doing a lot of green things. I was over there. I was over there today, so I can attest that you guys are doing a great job over there. Okay, Mayor Martin and I met with Mr. Blackwell, Mr.
Lloyd
Blackwell, and Mr. Juan Dansby to discuss the development of the 4.4 acres. Mr. Blackwell owns I think there are 4 tiny small apartment buildings across from the Seat Pleasant Metro. And so he came in to discuss with us the plans for development. Again, I have to change this. I think he'll be gone now. But we had set up a meeting with Mrs. Rogers from Prince George's County.
Yeah.
Okay, to arrange a meeting with Stephen Paul of Prince George's County on April 18th, but we had to cancel that. And one of the things we want to talk about is what kind of planning services the county can offer. 505 Eastern Avenue, which is a historic site. Mrs. Maxine Upshur, owner of 505 Eastern Avenue, has expressed an interest in selling the property. The land is valued at $80,500. There are no improvements on the site. Mrs. Upshur thinks that the property is up for tax sale, and I don't think so yet, although I asked Mr. Payne to research that. That's a valuable site. And it certainly has a lot of history for Fairmount Heights. That concludes my report.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rumi.
Do we have a truck going around to pick up trash?
Yes, we will have a truck going around to pick up trash.
Okay.
So if you have any trash, anything to be put out. Also, I'm working with the county. The county is looking at if the county pick up your recycle items, they're coming up with a new process where you can put out 3 things on that day and they'll pick that up as well. So that's good, and that cuts down on the number of bulk days that we have.
Yeah. But that, now, remember, Mr. Rumi, that is a county initiative.
Yeah, I said.
It doesn't affect us.
Oh, it won't affect you at all?
Municipalities, we're on an altogether different resolution on it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but maybe we should push for that, because you're still taxpayers.
Well,
Yeah.
remember that we do have the free bulk days.
Right.
I think it's the 3rd and the, yeah.
Right.
So please remember those dates and put your bulk items out. You can put at least 5 out, 5 items.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
the truck will be going around on
Okay.
Saturday. Yes, ma'am, Ms. White.
Yes. Could you mention the compost bins and from the county and things like that? I know we talked about it last week, but could you mention those again, please?
Yes, and that was also one of the projects for Earth Day. The county is offering composting bins.
But not for us.
Yes, they are. This is for food scraps. Is what you're referring to? Yes, for food.
I didn't think it, because I want to do it.
Right.
It does, so.
Okay.
So how do we get the bins?
Okay, what I will do, I will contact the person at the county office, and I'll get back to you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Because they contacted me,
Yeah.
and in terms of having the bin set up for food scraps. All this cuts down the amount of trash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
thought it was only for county residents.
Right.
That they only pick up. So
Right.
do they, like, it's a special truck that comes around like it does for our recycling?
Yes. Yeah. So, but I'll get the information to make certain that
Yeah,
they do
you're
it for
right.
county. But I'm almost certain that because they contact me and ask, if Fairmount Heights is going to participate, play a role. Okay.
It's like
Okay,
Laurel.
yeah.
So you know how Laurel is completely its own town, including like its own zoning rights, and even the county picks up their compost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, and like
Yes.
you said, we need to find all the specs on that, because I know at one time it wasn't really done that way.
Right.
Actually, they were doing it, and Chevrolet is the first place that I had seen, it's a lime green container that you put all the compost
Posting
in.
in.
And, we just make sure that it includes us, because what Sherry was saying, there was some discrepancy about us being included in the county plan, but it wasn't for us.
Right.
It was only for
Right.
municipalities, and
Right.
people were calling here saying, "Oh no, it's us. I'm gonna tell you it's us," but it wasn't.
Okay,
It
I'll
was
check,
only
I'll check
for
and
people
verify.
in the, yeah,
And tomorrow,
in the county,
and get
county
back to you.
jurisdiction.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For Earth Day, I'm glad Councilmember Cherie Downing mentioned as far as the planting. Where do we get our plants from?
Okay. This year, the county, you supply the plants. This year, they're behind in getting delivery of plants. I guess it's an issue of supply and demand. So she's meeting with me on Tuesday. I had just said that. She's meeting me on Tuesday and discuss what trees and what plants are going to be available. So we may have to do that after Earth Day. But I'll let you know.
So we're not planting plants on Earth Day, we'll do it after?
We're going to have to do it after.
But
Okay.
for mine, at the townhomes, we're just putting down mulch and cleaning up that area where the sign is.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So-
And it can be,
That's gonna be a good addition then, because
Right.
that needs it bad.
Right.
It does.
Any cleanup project that you want to do for Earth Day, like I said, when I drive around town, I notice a lot of the trees, all of the residuals and debris from the trees now beginning to bud. You'll see all that stuff lined up around along the tree. Sweep that up and prevent it from going into the storm drain. When that stuff goes in the storm drain, it impacts the Maryland crab. I'm a Maryland, and my family go back to slavery. It impacts these crabs, the oysters, the fish. So any type of project that you do, just let me know in advance you're doing a project so I can come and take pictures.
Okay. So it comes from the county. Is there any way that we can start looking at either Home Depot, Lowe's, or some type of nursery where we can get our plants from?
Yes. Yeah, I will certainly contact them to see what they have available.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way we can start getting our stuff. So if the county is behind, we can still be ahead. of
Right,
getting our plants.
yeah, I will
Okay.
certainly look at it.
And you guys know about the free mulch, right?
Yes, I see it advertised all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about the free mulch?
Yeah. Well, in terms of the free mulch, they will deliver free, or we have to go pick it up, free mulch. Yeah, we have to go pick up the free mulch, yeah.
Yeah.
For
They have it
Earth Day.
advertised
Yeah, they
quite
have
a
it
bit.
advertised. So Mr. Cradle will pick that up, yeah.
What time is the truck passing around to pick up trash?
Well, we're gonna be on duty Saturday from 8 to noon. So even probably 1, depends upon how much stuff we have to pick up. Yeah, so if you have something to put out there, let us know. And we'll be driving around, he will be driving around to pick it up. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Ms. Stewart, did you have?
I did not have a question.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, thank you, and I'm happy for all the citizens and everybody who want to participate and find the value of Earth Day. So, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Roman. All right. Appreciate your report. Appreciate you, Mr. Pinckney. And Ms. Walker? Yes, it feels. The air conditioning's on.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, and fellow colleagues. So, Mayor Martin, can you pass this down? And as those are coming around, I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity, Mayor Martin, to say thank you. I promise I will not be before you long, but I do have to say that I have been here for 15 years and 4 months, and I've had the honor and the privilege of serving under you for 10 years. So that says a lot.
Yes.
And we have had some moments where we have laughed, we've had some moments where we have cried, we've had moments where we have agreed, we have disagreed, but all in all, everything that we have done, first of all, is to God's glory.
Yes.
And second of all, is that we believe we were doing everything for the betterment of Fairmount Heights. And at times we have gotten things right, at times we have probably not gotten things right. And as you move on to whatever God has for you next, I know that you will continue to be the servant leader that you are. And so I thank you that when you came in, you took a chance to keep me on, and you believed in me, and I think we both have grown, and I thank you for that opportunity. So I know that God has additional plans for you. I know that you will continue to serve, but I just have to say 10 years has been a long time, and I know that you are ready to retire. You aren't the only person that's ready to take some time off, but I just want to say thank you so much. I do cherish all of our moments together.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
And I appreciate that.
Amen.
I appreciate that from each one of you all.
And so this evening, council members and mayor, I will not be before you long. I did promise you that I would just do a summary, as we did have the constant yield hearing tonight. And so I am just updating you as of the end of March. However, you do know that we have the budget planning session next week. And so at that time, we will spend more time looking at these budget numbers for fiscal year 24. But as of the end of March, our total revenue, which way do I want to do this first? Okay, let's start with our general revenue accounts. So our revenue accounts as of the end of March are $1,088,370.04. And so what that represents is the money that we have received from our general revenue, our intergovernment transfers, which is money that comes from other organizations, or other county and state organizations, other revenue, and then also our police department. And so we budgeted to receive $1,198,353. We've received most of our money, which is not unusual because we get the bulk of our money in October and November. During the summer is a time that we always have to be very careful about how we spend, because we get very little money during that time. It's a blessing that you do have the money that you have from ARPA, but that money is earmarked. It is not set aside for operations. It's set aside for whatever projects and things you've identified it for. Mrs. Councilmember Stewart took the lead on the energy assistance, and that was a very wonderful program. So programs such as that, the money has been set aside for. The money was also used, there was money set aside for funding for the police department, and so we were able to purchase 2 vehicles for the police department. We also have paid for equipment for a new Public Works vehicle. The Public Works vehicle is a pickup truck. We did not pay cash for the truck. We are financing the truck, which I will give you that information in a minute, but we did put peripheral equipment on that. So we did a bed liner. We also did a spreader, a salt spreader, and we did a plow. That will be our second vehicle that we have in place for the snow. We have been blessed over the past couple of years not to have much snow, but as you all know, we have had large snow, and so we needed more than one vehicle. One of the things that we still need to do each year, and now is the time, I don't have the exact date, but now is the time for us to get on the county's list to say that we want you to help us if we have snow. And then that's an added benefit to what we have. Our total expenditures as of the end of March were $544,333. So we are well under what we said we would spend, and that's a good thing because we don't want to be right where we said we would be. We want to try to make sure that we keep our revenue much higher than our expenses, but certainly at the budget meeting at that time, you all know that I will be looking even harder at every dime we've spent to see where we are as we make the final plans for next year's budget. Included in next year's budget, that's not true. Included in this year's budget would be the speed humps, if we get them down before the end of the fiscal year. We have an approved vendor for the speed humps. We do have approved locations. However, we are taking one more look because the speed humps are being done in phases. So it's not just going to be a one and done. So previous administration, previous personnel looked at where we were having the biggest problems and decided that we would put speed humps in these areas, and then we would also go to additional areas. Before we put those speed humps down in those designated areas, we're going to look at it just one more time to see if anything has changed. We now have a new chief, and so give him the opportunity as well as the council members have had some input and some concerns about where the speed humps are going. In addition to the speed humps, in this fiscal budget, Ms. Wood Dotson is not present with us this evening in person, but Ms. Wood Dotson has been asking for years that we look at certain signs, special signs that illuminate, stop signs, do not enter signs, and she said this for years. And so it has been approved for us to put signs that are blinking signs in certain areas in the town. Again, our current chief, we didn't just randomly do this. Our chief went out with Mr. Pinckney and took a look at the areas where the chief has actually been running surveillance to see where we have people that are not stopping at stop signs, people that are entering the intersections going the opposite way. And then we've also had council members, a council member in particular, Councilmember Stewart, has taken the time to go out as well and to look and see. So we do have recommendations for where to put these signs, and prayerfully we can get the signs down, at least paid for, in this fiscal year's budget. Whatever we can do this fiscal year would help us not to do next fiscal year. So I did mention that we had funding in the ARPA funding for the police department for next year's budget, and I'm asking the chief to see if we can do that in this year's budget, would be the body cameras for the police department. It's my understanding, and I'm not going to try to speak to this intelligently because I don't know the laws or anything, but it's my understanding that it is required for police officers to have body cameras, and we currently do not have those for our officers. One of the things that has been shared by our current personnel and previous personnel is that it's not a one-off. If we have 5 officers, we have to have more than 5 cameras, because if the camera is broken or if it has to be removed for investigation, we have to have something else. And that is also just overall for our police department. We can't have a one-off. We can't have 5 officers, 5 weapons. We have to have extra equipment. So funding a police department takes a lot, and we are trying to do as much as we can with the funds that we currently have, our ARPA funds, our existing funds, and then our chief is looking at grants and what have you to help us to fund the police department. For the Public Works Department, we do have a new supervisor, Mr. Cradle, and he has come in and hit the ground running. I personally will say I believe he was blessed to come into a department with workers that are truly family and truly work together and work very hard, and I believe citizens have been very supportive and council members of the Public Works staff. And Mr. Mack, for me personally, I believe has done a wonderful job keeping everyone together. So Mr. Cradle came in, and he came into an environment where he had people who were already working together. We had already identified a leaf vac. Our council member, Mr. Oscar, had identified a leaf vac. Unfortunately, the vac that we identified, we could not attach it to our vehicle. Thank you so much. So we are trying to find a leaf vac that will attach to a vehicle versus attached to the lawnmower. And Mr. Cradle has asked for a leaf vac, a sweeper for the street so we can address the curbing and other issues that we have with debris on the street. And then we're also looking at the equipment that we actually need to fill potholes. And we know we cannot fill all potholes. We will have to outsource, especially the ones that are larger, to have them done professionally and so that it doesn't occur again. But some of the smaller potholes that we can fill, we're not actually filling them the way they should be. So he has asked for that equipment. I'm scheduled to meet with him tomorrow to review that equipment to see what the cost would be and to see prior to our budget meeting how to recommend that to you. Because Mr. Cradle has come to me multiple times. So we'll see what happens. Mr. Pinckney mentioned the millet, and I will say that I personally have no experience and no direct knowledge of millet. However, Councilman Barnhart did share information on the millet. We have spent lots of time and money to clear the alleys, and not to make them so that they are roadways, but to make them so that they are clear, and it keeps rodents and other types of trash and debris from between and behind houses. But certainly if we don't put down some type of hard surface, it's going to cause that stuff, everything to grow again. And I definitely want to talk about that in our budget meeting, the millet, and Councilmember Barnhart, I'm going to yield to you in that meeting because you can share firsthand knowledge of Millet, and we can see how we can move forward. I believe there may be one alley we had talked about that we possibly didn't do, but I'm not sure if that's really an alley or who owns. We said we weren't sure if PG County owned that one area. So I think we've covered all of our area, all of our alleys. But certainly we will address this again in our budget meeting. The World War II Memorial, we were blessed to receive a grant. We have spent almost all of the money. The grantor is asking us to spend the last little bit that we have, which is less than $2,000. They've come back again and asked us to try to spend it. We're going to try to get the benches. The benches were in the original plans. I doubt we're going to have enough to get 3 benches. But as I shared with Ms. Sarumi, the grantor is responsible for reviewing all of the bids. So I do have to send the quotes over to the grantor, but they have said that we can just simply, contact vendors and get quotes and send them over. So I will do that. I'm going to ask for the input again of the mayor and council. I believe Councilmember Wood Dotson had expressed some opinions of what type of benches, and certainly this is up to you all as a mayor and council to determine what type of benches you'd like to put there. That is something that, though it will come from our town funds, they'll be replaced once we spend the money, we get the money back. The last thing I just want to update on would be, we have 3 vehicles, and so the balance of what we owe on those 3 vehicles. We have a dump truck that we are funding through Ford Motor Credit, and we will pay that off in February 2025. The outstanding balance is $25,630. We have our large trash truck, which we funded through KS State Bank. We will also pay that off in 2025. That'll be July 2025. And so the balance due on that is $75,175. We have a new pickup truck that we will be getting for the Public Works Department. We are funding that, and that is going to be again through Ford Motor Credit. That'll be $44,704, and that'll be paid off in April 2008. And so monthly, our dump truck costs us $1,188. Our trash truck costs us $2,762, and our new pickup truck will cost us $907. And so the reason I share that and why it's important is because those fixed costs, we have to obviously factor in every year. What are our fixed costs? What are the things that we absolutely know that we have to pay? We obviously cannot default on any of our obligations, and so far, we have not defaulted on any of our obligations. I have no reason to believe that we will not continue to be able to operate in the black. Mayor Martin, I know this is important to you as we go out. As you go out, I know you have said this to me multiple times, that it is important that we continue to operate in a way that shows that we are being responsible and that we are planning as we move forward. So I do believe that we are moving in that, we are in that direction. We're going to continue to move in that direction, and I think the budget planning meeting that's coming up, we'll be able to demonstrate what we can accomplish the remainder of this fiscal year, and then certainly as we move into next fiscal year. I'm beyond 3 minutes, so I thank you for the extra time. Yes, ma'am.
The 2 new police vehicles was not listed?
They're not funded. Those, this is what we funded. Those we paid cash for. So this is.
I thought we got a loan. We paid cash for, okay.
Not for the police cars.
Not for the police cars, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I do need to move them. You spoke about the speed humps in the community.
Yes, ma'am.
Last we spoke of this, I think it was rather January or February, that we was gonna get someone else to come out here to inspect the area to actually get a better quote or revise what they have already done. We haven't done that so far?
So we got 2 quotes, and we chose the one vendor because the first vendor went out of business, and we chose the second vendor. If we said we were going to do another vendor, then I totally
No, not
misunderstood
another
that.
vendor. He was supposed to actually come back out to the community to survey again.
Oh, he's coming back out. I'm sorry. Yes, he's coming back out because also there was some questions about the actual road surfaces, if there were damage to the road surfaces. So they have to come back out before we can move forward. We're not quite, when I say we're ready to move forward, we're ready for them to come back out. Like they have to come back out, and we have to talk about the surfaces on the existing roads where we're putting the speed humps. We also have to talk about how they're going to do it, because when they're closing off the roads, we need to let citizens know that the roads be closed for a period of time.
Do you know the time frame when they're coming back out?
They're ready to come out now. I just needed to confirm everything with Chief Moore, because he has to be part of that conversation
Okay.
for them to, because we need to coordinate that with the police department. So
Okay.
they're ready. It's just, we need to have Chief Moore to be able to be a part of that conversation.
I just don't want the speed bumps to proceed on for another year, and we still haven't had speed
No,
bumps.
we're not. I promise you, we're not. We're trying to move. We're trying to get it moving. I've
Okay.
been in conversation with them at least since the last time we met, which was last week, at least 3 times. I've spoken with them just to try to get stuff moving along.
Okay, and there was the potholes and everything else in the street. We can use our highway user funds to get some
We
money?
can. Oh, no,
To actually come out to
yes, the highway
repave
user
the
funds.
streets?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been talking while you were talking. Yes, the highway user funds will be used, can be used, I should say, can be used for our roadway repairs. And that's something that we definitely want to, whenever we do any repairs to any of our walkable surfaces, we put that in our highway user report, because we want the state to know how we're using our money that we receive. And then any large projects that we have, I call it Market Circle, it could be called something else, that Ms. Sarumi has mentioned. Any large projects that we have, the millet, to do it throughout the entire town, we probably would need to use highway user funds for that.
What about the sidewalks?
Sidewalks too.
Okay.
Yep, we can do sidewalks with highway users. That's a hard walkable. They refer to them as footpaths, alleys, roadways. Those things can be used, highway user can be used for those areas.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. See, she gave it back to you.
So do we, can, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Also, Councilwoman Wood Dotson has a question.
Okay.
Is she talking to me? Or was it for me?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Maybe for Ms.
Can
Walker.
you identify the streets again that we tentatively will be putting speed humps on? Do you know it off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my
Oh,
head,
okay.
I don't.
All right, don't worry about it. I got it in the email.
Okay.
And, can we use user highway funds to purchase equipment to fill for the streets? Like the equipment that Mr. Crater is talking about as far as filling the potholes?
Let me make sure. That I'm not sure. So let me see, because they give us strict guidelines. Let me check and see.
Okay.
Okay. Let me put a note next to this. Okay. Okay. All right. Did Ms. Wood have a question for me?
Okay, she has a question, but someone has to open there.
Yeah, my question,
Hold on.
Okay.
hold on.
I don't know, maybe somebody's mic is on.
Okay.
My question was, I know you said there was a certain amount left for the park. Just wondering with that is remaining, I know 2 benches and maybe the light, because veterans stop all the time, you know, I guess people visiting the community or whatever, and they question why do the flag ever get taken down at night? I mean, I can't tell a lie, and they come before, you know, they've seen it. If a light could be included at the top that will shine on the flag, like they said, the flag is not to remain without a light shining on it. So that will kind of put us in a better feeling with the VFWs and the different ones that come down there. They always ask the question.
So we have less than $2,000 left. So we do not have an,
Solar light. You could get a solar light. It doesn't have to be anything extensive to you where electricity have to run, but they can get a solar light and put it up. I'm speaking on behalf of the citizens and the veterans that come over the years to the activity and doing, you know, just traveling through the town. If they catch you outside and remember your face, they start asking questions. I'm telling the same story. I'm just trying to find out if I find a like $100 and it can go up there and work, would that be feasible for us to, I'll bring it back to the table. That's what I'll do, and then it can be voted on in the event the town can't find anything, workable or feasible. Maybe we can do a fundraiser or something.
All right. Thank you. We can discuss that further.
So Mayor, we would need to also look at the fact that the flag out front, there's no light on that.
No light, that's
So if you're gonna, this is an easier light than at the monument. The monument is slated to have lights that go up. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I
We can
just
take a
wanted
look
to,
at it.
Reiterate the locations that we're
yes.
tentatively putting speed humps. 58th Avenue, 4 humps, 59th Avenue, 3 humps, 60th Avenue, 6 humps, 60th Place, 2 humps, J Street, 4 humps. Did I say that too fast? Was anybody trying to write that down? All right, and then the electric signs are gonna go at 59th Avenue and Veterans Parkway, Jost Street and, what's that? How you say it?
Balsam Tree.
Balsam Street. And then at the Do Not Enter, Eastern Avenue at 61st Avenue, 60th Avenue at Joe Street. So those are the locations for the blinking solar panel lights that we've identified thus far.
So how was this determined again?
So prior administration, our prior police department personnel, which included Chief Ivy, and even prior to Chief Ivy, when Chief Watkins was here, he identified, we had started the process for the speed humps. The lights has been more recent. Chief Moore identified the locations for the lights.
Are there any locations that are getting voted?
Speed humps and lights. So I don't know the town that well.
Yeah,
Are there locations?
59th Avenue.
59th, okay.
okay.
Where is that? Is that
Where
where?
the Veterans Memorial is, over there.
But the ones that do get speed humps, there are non-light signs that are included in those speed humps to, notify you that there are speed
Right.
humps.
So, thank you, Councilman White. So this, for every street where there will be traffic control devices, i.e. the speed humps, there will be signage letting people know that you're entering into a traffic calming area. We have to put that down. So we have to have that signage there. And then I didn't mention this, for the cameras, last week, we did have one vendor to come in. Because we have to have other vendors come in, I prefer not to give that vendor any leverage over anybody else. I prefer not to say that name out in public. We did have one vendor to come in to share their equipment as far as what they can do for speed, and so we will have to allow other vendors to come in and to share what their equipment, what they can do, and then from there we will narrow down which vendor would be the recommended vendor for our speed cameras.
We'll put out a bid, right? Bid for selection?
Yeah, but we have to, because we started the process this way, I now have to allow every vendor to have that same opportunity. There will be a bid, but I have to give them that same opportunity because the first one was invited to come in. So I have to give everyone that same chance, otherwise they could say that we didn't give a fair opportunity.
Understood.
How do I get my street added to the list?
It's not that you can't. If you give me your information, which I do have your information, we will, and again, it's phases. We're not doing just these streets. We're trying to go through the entire town and identify where we have problems with speeding, and then put traffic control devices, speed humps, circles, cameras, what have you, at those locations. So I do have you. Okay. All right. You're welcome.
Okay, all right.
You're being a bully.
Can y'all, you hear this?
Being a bully tonight.
Thank you. It's fine.
Okay.
The new pickup truck, when we we expecting to receive that?
So the chief the chief is signing for that, and so he told them he could do it on Friday. So I let the chief work that out with New Holland, only because, again, whoever is signing for it, I already did the letter to say he would sign for it, so whoever's signing for it needs to be available. The last time we did it, we had said one person would sign, that person wasn't available, we signed, someone else signed, it kind of got a little sketchy there, so I asked him to work it out with them, and he gave them a date of Friday, so prayerfully, that will happen Friday. If not, I'm sure by next week it'll happen, because we've given them everything that we're supposed to give them.
Okay. At our budget meeting, are we going to actually, can we talk about the public works needs as far as equipment?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely part of the conversation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely, yep.
Okay, all right.
Oh, I did not forget about, we need a card for the code enforcement.
That's
We did not
right.
forget about that, Mr. Pinckney.
Right. Right.
Yes, it's not, we did not forget about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I'm probably out of order, but before I leave, I just want to respectfully acknowledge the appreciation that we have for your being our mayor. Absolutely. You have served exemplary with us. And we acknowledge that you rose beyond your mayoral responsibilities because you cultivated relationships with a lot of the residents, which I can speak to personally, and you went above and beyond in the service. It's unfortunate that you had to deal with so much from the predecessors
Right.
of this council. But we're anticipating, and I direct this to the incoming council, that your arrival doesn't coincide with her departure. We're anticipating that you will rise to the occasion as you meet the responsibilities and avail yourself to the challenges that we have in this municipality. Your predecessors, they didn't leave you a whole lot to rise above, so you can take delight in the fact that the bar is not set high, it's very low. And you can do something exceedingly impressive and impactful as it pertains to this municipality. So I pray God's blessing on you. I thank you for your service, and I pray that you continue to serve with the enthusiasm, the commitment, and the conviction of this council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you for coming and thank you for your comments. Yes. And at this time, we're going to move on down. First of all, I'm going to start with a report, and I'm going to keep it to directly to the point. I want to thank all of our employees that are here tonight. We started off with Mr. Pinckney. We went to Mr. Rumi. We went to Mrs. Walker. But as you all know, so many of the employees that I've worked with for so many years, we're talking about Ms. Tucker, we're talking about all the people who rotated that worked on the front desk, that came from C-Step. All of those people are all part of the big operation here at the town. I have to give thanks also to our clerk to the council, Dr. Spann, for coming in, because no one realizes the burden that comes with these jobs. You actually become a direct target once you get in the position. So I want to say thank you to those people, and for at least recognizing and say, you don't have to do anything, just say thank you. It means the world. And it's the way you carry yourself. I remember that Senator Benson and Delegate Jazz Lewis came here and made this mention. He said, if you want to get something from the county, from the state, 99% of it is going to depend on how you bring that approach and what you bring to them, how you carry yourself throughout this county. So it's a lesson in that. And if I have anything to say, mind your manners and definitely take a positive message forward, because other than that, they're going to just put you on the back burner. They act like they don't even want to see you coming. So take it from experience. I'm just saying this personally. And again, I want to thank all of the employees, because you all know how much I love you, and for the times that we work together. It's very sentimental. So I want to put that out there from the very beginning. And I want to add something also, that we did receive notice. It came from the senator, from Senator Benson, that we have received the $100,000 in bond funding. And we're going to get a letter that's going to directly tell us what our next steps will be. But she said, I hope to be able to get more from you, for you. But naturally, that's going to depend on how things are progressing and as to whether she feels like it's warranted. But I want you all to know we will be getting that. And I want to thank Mr. Rumi for putting that bond information forward, because she took the first letters and all of the other follow-up for the bond bill, and so did Mrs. Tucker as far as scanning and getting all the information ready to go forward. So I want to say thank you to them. And as we discussed, and we'll talk more about it when we have our budget meeting, that money, when it was put in, was slated to repair and get some new restrooms for the lower level and for the top level, and to use it for ADA compliance. That's what our application said. Now, I leave this in you all's hands, because I won't be making the decisions as to how that money is used, but it needs to be used just like that. Because they're going to be looking to us to keep our word. You know, like you say you want to get some new restrooms, you need to be ADA compliance, have you done it? So that's another thing. That's going to depend on whether you get future funding. So I say all this as a, you know, as a word of advice and caution. Think about it, okay? I wanted to give a little notice about the paid summer interns. I'm so interested and seeing if we could get a few young people. They need to be either seniors or juniors in high school or college students. They have an intern program where interns can be paid for this summer. It's by the Office of the Clerk of the Circuit Court. And the website is www.marylandcourts.gov/careers. The job ID number is 9576. The deadline to apply is April 27th, which is next week, 2023. They're going to give them up to 40 hours per week to work, and they will be making $15.65 per hour. So if you all would like to get this information, I brought this forward just for that purpose, because I thought it would be a golden opportunity for some of our young people to participate. And as I close, I want to read something that was written in 1946. This is from our elders, the town of Fairmount Heights elders. It was taken from the 1946 yearbook for the town of Fairmount Heights. And it says, in conclusion, thus, in this brief but authentic resume, we have attempted to record and picture the early yearning and struggles of a determined people who sought their place in the sun and made their contributions to the history of the Negro race, not only in Maryland, but the United States of America. These are the torchbearers of today. They have strived to carry it high and keep the light burning bright. But on tomorrow, when their hands become palsied, they shall pass the torch to posterity. And with that earnest hope that those hands that carry the torch shall carry on. God bless the town of Fairmount Heights. All right, so I'm going to move down to the council members' reports. I'm going to start here with Council Member Waiters. Would you like to start off with your report?
Yes, I'm going to keep it short and brief. Mayor Martin, I, as with others, would like to commend you, but you have another meeting.
That would not count.
There's so much more to say, and I don't want to belabor time, but I do have a lot more to say, and I will deliver at a later time. Again, this is not your last meeting, at least not with me. The Green Team, Mr. Remy mentioned that our meeting was canceled for this particular month. We had begun to start seating, and we hadn't planned any events, particularly for the forthcoming season. However, where's Mr. Remy? we have started
There she is there.
planting things in things like what we do is we take things that come from either the things that we've grown already or things that come from the supermarket, which is from the event that I was sharing with you. It didn't make it because of an emergency. But we take things like the sweet potatoes and plant them and root them to have further growth at a later time. I say that and I bring that to the attention because with those trains having wrecked recently in the middle states, at least I think 2 or 3 of them, one of the reports, the news reports that I heard small summation was that there's a potential threat to growth of vegetation, and so therefore the produce prices may go up.
Okay.
What better time to grow your own? So further information will come out with that as we attend our Green Team meetings, or you attend our Green Team meetings as they resume. I'll reiterate the $10,000 for the beautification project at Markham Circle that Mr. Rumi did mention. We did get that, as well as the $5,000 art grant money. I met with Senator Benson as well to discuss the latest legislative sessions that the delegates as well as she had attended, and those bond bills that were presented and passed or failed. However, limited information. She's going to meet with the delegates and then meet with some of the other leaders to let us know exactly what happened. And you already mentioned the bond bill was secured. Senator Benson also wants information for Ms. Graves' birthday so that she can send her something.
Okay.
You mentioned the community service hours. In my meeting also, she recommended that we apply for additional monies to continue the upgrade of this building. And lastly, I presented to Chief Moore a crime prevention grant for, I think the maximum amount, if I got it correct, I don't have it before me, is $300,000 for crime prevention. And he believed that, he mentioned that last week in work session that he did go, he's going to attend the training and get all the information that we need for that. And I'll have more, but I will stop
Okay.
right there.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilmember Oscar?
Yeah, in the interest of time, I just wanted to highlight, highlight the 2 days for the bulk trash days, and the stipulations that comes with those, the trash. So like Ms. Rumi highlighted, May 3rd and Wednesday, May 3rd and Wednesday, May 17th will be those days that we're gonna have this trash pickup. And it is free of charge, of course, and but like I said, there are some stipulations that I will read out to you. Residents are to place all articles at the front of your property lines, same as the regular trash. The town will not pick up any major automobile parts, bricks, cement, cinder blocks, concrete blocks, plaster, or roofing materials. These items must be taken directly by the resident to the county landfills. Tree trimmings and clippings must be cut into sections 4 feet long and 3 inches in diameter. So with the tree trimmings, we can have a lot of branches, and if at all you have branches, well, what I'm saying, like if you have branches, you need to cut it up within 4 feet long sections, and the branches shouldn't be more than 3 inches in diameter. So we're looking at really shrubs. It also must be tied, and you also have to bundle it so that it could be picked up by the trash people. Bundles no longer wider will not be accepted. These items must not be commingled with regular trash, so you can't add the bulk items to your regular trash. Please separate those items so that they can be differentiated and maybe picked up in a separate truck. The town will not be responsible for any of this trash that is put out after 6 a.m. on Wednesday. So these are the rules that are highlighted for that bulk trash pickup for those 2 days. Once you adhere to these regulations, then I'm sure if you have 5 pieces of bulk trash, they will be picked up. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember White?
Yes, all right. First of all, I would just like to start by saying, Mayor, it's truly been an honor serving during your administration, and especially admirable because exactly 10 years ago, you were my Spanish teacher. My Spanish teacher broke her hip, and Mayor Martin was my extended substitute for I think about 7 months or so. It was a very long time. So, that is just a true testament of how important positive models are, especially for children within your own community. So it's just been such an honor, and really we will miss your time here, and you've truly been a standard in the town. And I would also like to thank everyone for the well wishes and support during my recovery from surgery. I had 6 large fibroids, an ovarian cyst, and uterine scar tissue removed last month. So I'm glad to be back and with all of you. And so with that, me being back, last week was my first week back from leave. My personal project for the town, I know Mr. Pinckney has been asking about it too. The Lowell Free Library is back on. I will be finishing it this weekend. The structure is built. It's about 3.5 feet wide, 2 feet tall. The doors need to be put on in the base primer, and it'll be done and ready for the town. And so I really encourage and challenge everyone here to try to pick up a beautification and community project within our community. It really shows uniqueness within the town, and it's just something fun to have, especially as people walk their dogs and walk around the town as we strive to become a more walkable town. And as for updates, I know Councilwoman Wood Dotson was asking about the automatic voting machine. Downstairs, we have a large mid-century voting machine. So for further outreach, I reached out to the Smithsonian's. The one that would be specifically of interest to us, which is the AHHC, is not taking any sort of donations or anything at the time because it's such a new museum. It has a bunch of archival backstock. Our other choices include reaching out to other museums as well as liquidation. It is worth about only $800, but it is a very special piece of history, so we'll look into that in the next coming month. And as for Sunday's food distribution, I won't go into that that much because I'm sure Councilwoman Stewart would like the chance to expand upon that, but we were able to distribute about 2 weeks worth of food to participating families, including fresh produce, lactose-free dairy products. So we had regular milk, Lactaid, silk, poultry, fresh fish. There were even slabs of ribs. It was really something special. So I would just like to thank Councilwoman Stewart for taking the initiatives to organize that event. And an update on the LED signs. While I was away convalescing, I did get a few quotes I'll be getting over to the treasurer. So for front and back, I know Mr. Pinckney had requested that as well. Front and back LED signs, as well as one-sided signs, which look to be, more in our budget if we want to have multiple. But I'll make sure to get those numbers over to you all. And that's it for my report this month. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilmember White. Councilmember Barnhart.
In my report, I would like to have a community yard sale. I talked to Ms. Tucker. She said the month of May is really kind of like booked up The only available date is May 13th. That's the day before Mother's Day, and I know a lot of people are actually spending time with their moms, going out shopping and doing other things for Mother's Day weekend. So I might have to postpone my yard sale if I can't fit in the schedule of having a yard sale either the whole day or half a day. So I'm trying to get an idea of what I'm going to do as far as May. For June, I would like to have a youth end of the year pool party at the Z Pool, and also have some refreshments for them as well, just to celebrate the end of the year for them, having a whole year of focuses on schoolwork and making the good grades and things of that nature. August, we'll be back to school, so we're doing back to school drive for supplies. July, I'm really considering of doing a movie night for the community. And that's the end of my report.
Okay. All right.
Hello,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hello,
Council
everyone.
members.
Mayor, I just want to say
Sure.
thank you for your 32 years of service. It's been an honor and a privilege serving with you this last year. Thank you very much for that.
All right.
And I'm going to piggyback off of what Councilwoman White said about the food giveaway. If you did not come out, you missed a great opportunity to pick up some good items. And they did have everything and a variety of stuff. I would like the town to continue to partner with Stepping with Leaders, because the young lady, January Coates, who is the, I guess, CEO of that program, she's phenomenal. I reached out to her. We got this on the books. She came out. She did not disappoint. Unfortunately, you guys didn't take advantage of it, but I hope you will next time. She had some really good food. Mr. Pinckney came late. We had to take stuff and pile it together to make him a few bags. Salmon, we gave you salmon. He didn't want the ribs because he doesn't eat pork, but I just want everybody, Dr. Span came out too, I just want everybody, the next time you see those flyers, please come around and get some of this good food. I'm sorry? Yeah. At the end, they gave us a lot of bananas and a lot of mushrooms, so at the end they called around and gave, by the time you got here, Mr. Pinckney, it's some.
Oh, yeah.
We had to, it was in the freezer, so if you didn't grab it, I'm sorry. But at the end, we had some produce left that they donated to local homeless shelters. So everything was given away.
Yeah.
Also, I had a meeting earlier, April, with Public Works, Police Department, myself, Town Manager, and we talked about ways to clean up the community. Depot put out a booklet that tells the community about all the things that they're looking for when they write citations on your property. We're trying to replicate that book so that we can put it out in the community so people will know what are infractions, what's good to go, what's not a good look for your house and your property. So we're trying to replicate that. We have a follow-up meeting on the 27th of April, to get back to, to follow up what we discussed and move forward getting that booklet out to the community. We're looking to also, create ordinances to deal with all the abandoned vehicles parked throughout our community, whether it's in your yard or whether it's on the street. We're trying to clean up the community. Our streets are very narrow. We're trying to get those cars that are not operable off of our street and out of our yards. So that's what I'm working on with public safety. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Mr. Pickney, isn't it against a violation to have inoperable vehicles on the street, considering that the codes, if you can have it parked in your yard, it's a problem. How could it be on the streets? The inoperable vehicles, if it's parked in your yard, then that's a violation. So how comes if it's parked on the street, it remains there for eternity?
That's something I don't deal with the street. Police department deal with the street. I deal with the property. If it's an inoperable, abandoned, or unregistered vehicle in your yard, I can give you a citation. But if it's a vehicle on the street that's inoperable or abandoned,
Or
then
dead
the police
tags.
department, I can put a sticker on it but that's the police department area.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Barnhart?
I just wanted to add one more thing to my report. Sorry. The same young lady that helped out with the food drive that we had here, January, she's also a realtor, and I would like to have an event with her called Sellers Beware in our community, because there's a lot of older residents, seniors in our community are just signing off their homes to just people that means no good to them. So she's actually going to come here, her and her team going to do a presentation to let us Fairmount Heights, the community, know how to properly either pass your homes down to your children or the right way of selling your property so you won't be scammed out your home. So I'm trying to actually do this event in June as well. If not, I will let you all know.
Okay, okay.
My son is a foreclosure defense attorney in New York, and he would love to come and speak on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we talked about that Sunday.
Okay, thank you all so much. Is council member?
She's ready.
Is she on there? Okay,
She's ready. Someone needs to.
all right.
She can go ahead.
Okay.
One thing, I attended Senator Benson's meeting. I'm glad Ms. Barnhart brought up the scam. That's something they spoke about and gave free legal aid. They have attorneys. I'll make sure I bring the card to have them put it in. And they also gave information in regard to a cardiologist, Dr. Martin at Arundel Hospital. He's giving free cardiac screening for vascular clogged arteries. So she had a lot of health things spoken about, as well as intervened in the scams where the attorneys there had given service for just what Ms. Barnhart was speaking. Some of them are even being in scams with their own children and grandchildren that have forged their signatures on things, and they needed that attorney leverage given. I also attended Flowers High School had a daytime dance Motown that the seniors and some of the UCAP drivers picked us up. As far as the budget, when we come in on that would be a Zoom meeting as well, as what I'm being asked by some. I told them yes.
Okay. Council. Now, yes, they will be, I think the notice went out. Our clerk to the council had prepared it. I think she might have already sent that out. But the council members and the mayor, we really need to be in the meeting. We need to be in the building because, if we have to keep on going back and forth, we're trying to get the budget organized. It's going to be very difficult. So if at all possible, I think I asked that when we decided to have the meeting on that day, please come into the building, and it's scheduled. I tried to schedule it so that everyone is off work and we can get in here and try to get something really done on this budget. Because what's going to really happen is that you all are going to have to finalize this. I'm just, actually putting in the time now, but in order to get the finalized product, you all going to have to finalize it. And like I said, it is what it is. Okay? So everyone's going to need to be in here. Okay?
All right.
So, okay, and I want to thank you all very much for your reports. Thank all the employees for theirs, and I really appreciate the citizens who have stayed. You all, I'm not familiar with you. I want to make sure that your name is included on a list here, so I put a sheet of paper here. You can just put your name, your address, your email address, and everything, and put your telephone number so someone can reach back out to you. I think we have 4 people who are here who, could possibly do that. You all, please don't leave without leaving your information. Because I've never seen you before, and I think, we need to stay in touch. Stay in touch. Okay, so now we are going to move into, and that'll be a good opportunity for you. We're gonna move into public citizens participation. So if anyone has anything to say, you all can come here, because that way, see, the mic is on, and the sound can go out through Zoom. See, we're dealing with this now because we have to attend to the in-person citizens and those on Zoom. And they're not gonna be able to hear you from back there, so if you all have anything, you can come and sit right here, and let's zoom it on in. Make sure you put your name there also. Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Yemi Ogunlola. I live at 5512 K Street, on Cope Street over there. And I have a corner lot over there. That's 80% of the lot belongs to the town of Fairmount Heights. Before COVID, some people were coming to cut it, but because of COVID, they stopped. So last year, like every other week, I was spending $80 to cut the grass. So that's why I'm here today. I can because that lot, 80% of it, as I said, belongs to the city, and I can afford to be spending $80 every 3 weeks to cut the lot that is not mine. Because before my children used to help, but they are grown. They all moved out. Okay. So and I can't do it, and I don't have the money to do it anymore. That's 5512 K Street.
Okay. Now, Mr. Pinckney, are you familiar?
Yeah, I talked to her today. I invited her to come to the
Oh, good. That's good.
She's in the townhouse. It's 55.
Oh, great. Yeah. So that is the town's responsibility. Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Or is it on the common area?
She has the lot on the corner of K and Cole, that big corner right there where we had the water leak.
Yes, where the water leak. Okay.
All that. She's talking with the whole entire corner.
So now that is considered common area, right?
Yeah.
I think it is. Now, see, this is where we get into an issue with the common areas and what the homeowners association is supposed to cover. I think that's the reason why we're dealing with that, because there's an area where the homeowners association, but I know you all don't have one.
We don't have one.
And so, I don't know, we're gonna have to try to come together and see if we can get some of that resolved, because actually, when you're in townhomes like that, your homeowners association is supposed to cover those common areas. That way somebody would be paid to, do the grass, keep it looking nice and manicured and do everything. So I don't know what we can say, because from what I could gather, I think the way the townhomes were set up, Mr. Spriggs built those properties, and there never was really, the homeowners wasn't really set up. Now, I remember there was a gentleman that came here, and it's been probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. He was actually planning on setting up the homeowners. But from what I could gather, he left and moved to Upper Marlboro. And I don't know whether he rents his home out or what, but it's got to be some resolution from the residents that live over on K, because that is an HOA issue, because it's called a common area. So now, I don't know what else, Mr. Pinckney. I know that was my perception of it. I understand that you can't keep doing it, and you're the only person. It's right there at your door, right?
Yeah.
It's at your door. So I can't say that the town could take on that responsibility of doing it. We just need to we really need that HOA. We need it. We really need it, and
a lot of the residents they're not interested, because they don't have a larger lot like I do, and they're not willing to,
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that are at the center of the townhouses, they have very little lots.
Yeah.
So they're not willing to pay for that.
You know what I think we're going to have to do too, Mr. Pinckney? I guess we have to look into researching some of the information that may come from the county concerning what you would do concerning if your HOA is not active. It should be, I don't really know whether the county executive's office would have anything like that. They might. I am not sure, but I guess that's what we really need to research, because, you know, the town, if we say that we can keep it up, I don't think that's gonna be well, you know.
But ma'am, the town was cutting it before COVID. They stopped because of COVID. Some people were coming over to cut it before COVID.
So Public Works was doing that?
Well, I don't know. Some people comes over and cut it, and I just cut my little stuff before, yeah. But when COVID started, they stopped. So
Okay.
throughout last year, I was like the one getting somebody to cut it, and each time I pay $80.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, I understand that. So I don't know what the town's responsibility is, let me just say that. Because of the fact I know that it is, you know, you're supposed to have an HOA, and I know you all don't have it. So we need to find out what direction we take from that. I can't, you know, I can't just sit here and say that it's gonna become the town's responsibility, because I don't even really know who, maybe they were cutting it, maybe Public Works was doing it. So let me just try to investigate, and then with that, Mr. Pinckney has your contact number, right?
No.
You don't have it? Okay, well, you're gonna need to put it on here then. If you put your name and everything there, and put your email address there also. And whatever I can try to research for you, I'll try to see what I can do to find out what you could do. I don't know. Yes, ma'am, Ms. White.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be here anymore. I'm gonna speak to the council about this. That's a problem that's been going on for a long time. I'm Joyce White, I'm the Vice President of Citizens Association. While y'all researching, the grass is still growing. They're paying taxes to the town. Why don't Public Works cut it until y'all find out a common solution? For somebody to have to pay $80 every 2 weeks, that's not fair to her. So why can't Public Works just cut the property?
You put your email address on there
Yes,
too.
I've been hearing this.
And your
for
telephone
years.
number.
They
Okay.
don't have an HO.
Okay, thank you.
They pay taxes, the town gets that money, cut the grass. That's all
Okay,
I have.
okay, thank you for that, Ms. White. But like I said, we still need to find out the regulations, because this is gonna be ongoing.
Yeah, why you
So
finding that out?
can
The
you
grass
all,
still needs to be
I want you all to sign here too. And please come up to the mic, because they won't be able to hear you, and we have the people who are on that other line.
Good evening, everybody. Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. My name is Nicole Jennings. I live at 5717 Kolb Street, and we're having a similar issue with the park next door. We've paid thousands of dollars over the years to maintain and cut the trees that are hanging over the property. And then with the recent storm a couple of weeks ago, one of the trees from the property, the county's property, fell into our yard and broke our fence, and we've had to pay thousands of dollars to fix the fence and replace the tree. And so we're just curious about, I know it's not, I don't think it's Fairmount Heights' responsibility to maintain that property, but what's your role in corresponding with the county to make sure that property is maintained, since it is a Fairmount Heights park?
Now, that's 5717 Cole.
I'm directly next to the park, and then next to the park on that same lot, it's just like a swampy forest.
Yes, I know exactly where you are.
No,
So you're directly.
single family.
You're across, or
I'm next to, where the property directly next
where
to.
Mr. What's his name used to live?
Yeah,
Mr.
Miss
What's the
Dipson.
man? Dipson.
Yes,
Right,
we purchased
that's where
that
you
property,
are.
yeah.
Okay. So now, do you know anything concerning that particular situation?
Two pictures, but it belongs to Park and Plan.
Okay.
Park and Plan go from the playground
All the way.
to their house.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna need to, now, who can we
Pardon?
get?
Park and planning.
We need
Sorry,
to-
what'd you say?
Sorry, so it broke this white fence?
Yeah, in the backyard. Not, you can't see it from that picture, but I mean, it's obviously becoming a great expense to maintain, and then a concern, especially with all the fire alert warnings. Like, if anything were to happen, a fire were to start, you know, what would happen to our home? You know?
Right.
So we're
Okay.
just really concerned about
So,
this continuing
yeah.
to be a problem.
I understand, and we're gonna really need to contact Park and Plan, because we've been concerned about that, the whole issue about how that area is so swampy, and so it just, too much green residue builds up there, and they don't really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
They really don't. So I think that the best thing that we can do is probably draft a letter to them soon and let them know it's a major concern about that, because you know what? People have been complaining all the time about the bad mosquitoes and everything down. That's why
We get that in
I know.
the backyard.
And whenever they come for the spraying, that's one area of focus. It's right down there in that area, and that all that could be, it could be built up much better than that.
Yeah.
It's just that they haven't really been paying any attention. What I can say is that we can, if you work with us, we can draft a letter.
Okay.
Because I need your address, I need your telephone number and everything. And if you could, let me see. I guess you need to do it sooner rather than later. What are your daytime schedule?
Well, I'm a teacher, so I'm usually in school, but my husband.
Right. Okay.
My husband, he works remotely at home,
Okay.
so he's usually home.
Okay, so is there any time during the day you could just come here and let's try to get that draft and send it on out to park and planning?
But I'm off this week for spring
Oh, okay.
break, so.
Okay, now, let me see, what's tomorrow? It's Thursday. I have a lot of things going tomorrow, but if you all come maybe, what about Friday? If you can just call me and come on Friday. Sometimes, if you don't get the direct. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I see. Okay. All right. So, if you could come, say like Friday. Let's think in terms of Friday. Come, yeah, and come like about. Okay, so what day are you going? What time? Or in the morning? Okay, so you're gonna really need to catch me fast if you know. Next week, when do you come back? Okay.
I can still come.
Oh, you can? Okay, I'm saying like about, because I don't want to push my schedule up too bad. Say come about 3, because normally by that time I make sure I'm always in here. If you come by that time, I'm going to try to meet you all here, and let's try to get something drafted that goes to park and plan to sort of explaining the situation.
Follow up with you via email or?
Yes. You can send it to mayor@Fairmount Heights MD.gov. Yeah, just send me the email, and if that works for you, even if it's on Friday or the following, a day next week, but catch me early enough during the week, because my schedule is getting real tight. And let's get something sent out to them. Okay. I'm gonna try to do something for them. Yes, did you want to come? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, how you doing? Good.
All right, how's everyone? My name is Larry Harrison. I live on 613 60th Avenue. And as Ms. Martin knows, Mayor Martin knows,
yeah.
I have a generational connection to Fairmount Heights. Matter of fact, my aunt is up on that wall.
Right, there you go.
Ruth Brown, she's over there. But one of my concerns I want to raise to you all is that there's a large lot with trucks and cars on it. It's close up right off of Eastern Avenue, across from Incarnation Church as you go out. And I do a lot of biking, right? So when I bike through that area, I can smell the gas. And when I bike through it, and I feel so bad for the residents that live on that street. I'm wondering they're getting exposed to all kind of toxins. And I know that, you're talking about Earth Day, but that's something to consider. That's been there for a while. I don't know if it's even benefiting the city, but every time I go through there, it just looks like an environmental hazard. It's just going on without being addressed. So.
Yeah. Tremendos.
Yeah. I don't even know if they're identified as a junkyard. They have so many different things going on in it. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to raise that to you as a concern for the citizens that live in that area, for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say is that I wonder if the council has someone who's responsible, like you would do in the Congress, someone that handles judicial issues. So you actually have a branch or a part of the council that helps identify judicial issues that are occurring, and I just wanted to raise that to you.
Okay.
It's probably be a powerful office,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but probably necessary to follow up on citations that be written, people that are being locked up, and, you know, issues of, legal issues that need to be followed up, that have some kind of central office where people can, you know, deal with the town first before it goes up in Marlboro. And take more responsibility as the first line of defense for legal issues that occur here. And that's probably going to bring even more funds back into the city as the state collects money for all the judicial issues that they address. So that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Harrison. Let me just say a little bit about Tremendo's, because that is what you're discussing. Tremendo's has been an albatross around our neck for so many years. Now, what happened is, and this goes way back, we had a team of community residents that were working, trying to eliminate, at that time it wasn't even called Tremendo's. It was, I forget, Mr. Neil Lee owned it. And he decided he was going to move to Balsam Tree, which puts him out of Fairmount Heights' jurisdiction, but he's right there on our corner. Okay, he somehow or another either leased or sold to Tremendo's. And the people over on J Street are always complaining. I understand. The lady lives directly next to Tremendo's. They talk about how, you know, the sidewalks, they come and they crack the sidewalks. I didn't even know about that smell because I just go over there every now and then. But it is a major issue. It's major. And you have to really be prepared to take it on, because once we started the research, found out that the original owners were in Florida. And these people that had that particular place, they kept leasing it. And they kept changing owners. So, you know, it went all the way through up, because it was a group of citizens that were behind it. It absolutely fizzled out. Maybe now is a good time to get somebody like EPA, because I think, as a matter of fact, Mr. Pinckney contacted EPA about trying to, I don't know whether it was soil testing or whatever they were supposed to do. But it seems like I said, they have some kind of situation going where somebody is protecting that. And it goes way back to this owner that's in Florida. I can't even think of the man's name by now, but we did all that research. It's time to go back to it, because of the environment now is so much different, and all of these chemicals and everything, they're killing everybody.
Yeah.
It's really so detrimental. So I think that's a good part. We need somebody to spearhead that. Somebody needs to work on it, because it's vital. It is really vital. Now, I don't know how much you want to be involved in something like that, but we need someone to step forward and start doing some work about, because it's going to be a task. It's a task.
So Mayor, are we currently doing any inspections on the facility to determine if they're violating any codes or anything, Mr. Big?
Mr. Pinckney does. He could tell you about what he's done.
EPA, because we tell the EPA, they were crushing cars and antifreeze, the gas that was in the old cars was going down to the groundwater, and it was going all the way down to Cold Street where they live. So when it rains, you can see the sediments on top, because it floods on Cold Street right next to their house. And you can see the oil.
Right. But what I'm saying, that's a violation, wouldn't you write the ticket for that?
That's the EPA.
Okay.
EPA has any right violation.
Oh, okay.
Only thing I can do is stop giving the business license, and that's what I did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was another thing. And see, they have a representative that would, yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's a task, but it needs to be undertaken, because it's affecting the lives of the people. Not only those that live so close to it, it's just that the smell and that oil that builds up is just, it's an issue. So you might not be able to tell me, but tell somebody if you want to start heading up a task force on that. You know, let's get a task force going. I think it would be very vital.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, please, give me a call.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming this evening.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Okay, we're going to continue with public participation. Is there anyone else that has something for the good of the organization? You all, I think I have both of your names here. Did you put your name and his name? Okay, good. And send me the email so that I can go on and, yeah. Okay. Yeah, be sure to drop that to me so we can try to work and get something to park and plan them. Okay. All right, is there anyone else who has anything for the good of the organization? I have somebody online. Okay, all right. We can get them. We can get them now.
You want me, okay.
Okay.
Her questions are in the chat.
I didn't know she wanted to speak to herself.
Okay, hold on a second. Ms. Gladden? Ms. Gladden?
All right,
Is,
so she's,
is she muted?
she is muted.
Okay, so in the, you want to do it?
Yes.
Initially in the chat during the conversation for, 1 second, let me go back up. Okay, so the first question Ms. Gladden asked was, when were the citizens notified of the candidates' night?
It was on the original letter, and I can get verification from Mrs. Shelton that's here tonight, but the original letter that had the dates on it, I know it was posted out front there on the board. It's going out in the morning? Okay. I did get the word from Mrs. Shelton that the flyer is on the table here in the building, and it's one going out tomorrow.
Okay, she, keep going?
Yes, keep going.
She said that 61st Avenue was in the previous, she believes that 61st Avenue was in the previous list of streets for the speed bump. Also, a lot of what is that? Oh, she's back. Hold on. 1 second. Well, let me finish reading and then she can come on. Hold on a second. Wait. A lot of it keeps going back and forth. What is it doing? A lot of cars cut through 61st Avenue from Sheriff Road. Councilmember Wood Dodson has put in that Miss Saxon's grass probably needs to be cut as well. Can I pause to say something out of common courtesy, Madam Mayor? And I know you spoke to the citizen that just left, and with this comment here, and I know it's been an issue with the HOA. Can we just cut the lady's grass? Can we just cut her grass and cut Nancy's grass, and on the day that they cut grass until we resolve?
Well, I mean, you know,
I know it's a decision making. I'm just because Nancy, it's in here. It's Nancy. Can Nancy's grass get cut? But I'm gonna move on, and I guess it's for further discussion. I just want to put that part in there since Nancy's here. Saxon.
Can we discuss it now? Do you want to?
We're at the end of Simpson. I don't know, but let me finish it. I don't know. Let me finish. What's the next step in addressing Mr. Pinckney's complaint regarding a candidate's actions? And then, 1 second. Hold on. Okay, the last one, she came back. She stepped away, so then she can now speak. Ms. Gladden.
That Councilmember Stewart read regarding the speed hump. I didn't hear 61st Avenue, but I believe Susan previously mentioned 61st Avenue, specifically because a lot of cars cut through Sheriff Road coming through 61st Avenue. They're going pretty quickly. So I guess I'm asking to confirm either with Susan or with Councilmember White, Stewart, I'm sorry, I think that's it, White. Councilmember Stewart's list, 61st Avenue is not on there.
61st is listed, but I don't have it in front of me, so I can't give any accurate description, but 61st is listed.
Okay, I didn't hear it read out. So
For speed hump.
because I specifically asked. So I don't know if the list is a moving list, if it's constantly changing, or, so I guess I'm just asking for clarification.
Okay. That particular list, it was just, I don't think everyone has been presented with the complete list because of the fact that it's supposed to be in phases. So we should be able to publish a complete list soon, once Mrs. Walker finishes conversing with the vendors and the chief. That's another one. We'll coordinate that to make sure before we release a complete list, because we're going to need to do that as a requirement for the humps. So once we have that available, we can release a complete list.
She's asking another question.
Okay.
So someone is keeping a master list, or does several people have several different locations? That's the question.
She has a master list. Mrs. Walker. Yeah.
Okay. And then one more question that wasn't in the chat. So the citizen speaking about her grass being cut, she mentioned that that Public Works was cutting her grass prior to COVID, but then they stopped during COVID. But it's my understanding that Public Works received premium pay for working during COVID. So can the town elaborate why they would have stopped cutting it because of COVID?
I don't even really know. I'm going to need to verify that with the Public Works Supervisor to find out actually what happened with her grass and why they are no longer cutting it. I know there are some areas that they possibly cut, and I don't know what their schedule is, so it's no sense in me sitting here saying that I realize all the areas. Before I start talking about that, we can get a report of the areas we need to find out about her particular grass and any other areas they might be cutting there. I don't know. One thing that I would like for us to do is be consistent so that we know if there are certain areas that are supposed to be cut, they can get that done. And I think we have enough people. I know sometimes if our staff had been short and maybe some people have been on the trash truck or whatever, but we need a definitive list and to find out what their pattern has been as far as grass cutting is concerned. Yes, ma'am.
The Public Works Supervisor wouldn't know the change from 2019 to now today, because he just started working 2 weeks ago, so that's a question you have to ask Matt.
No, that's what I would do. It's no sense in thinking that Mr. Cradle would know, because he just came here a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So I can't get anything from him. I'm just saying, I said formulate some kind of system. I can't sit here and talk about it because I don't really know. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so was there anything else?
One last question from Ms. Clark. She said there's 3 J streets. Which J street will be getting the speed humps? Ms. Walker's gone.
It's going to be phased in. So as soon as we get a completed list as to how it will be phased in, those streets, we're going to notify everyone. And we're going to coordinate that with the mayor and the council, the treasurer, and the police chief, and Mr. Pinckney. We got to make sure he's on there. Okay.
Hold on.
Mayor, can I elaborate on my question, please? This is Ms. Clark.
Yes.
there are 3 J Streets, so how will I know if my street will be designated for speed hump?
Okay, we're gonna go by the numbers. You're right, because J Street has so many different areas that need to be, but we have to go by the addresses, the J Street addresses. So, like I said, until she actually gives us the copies of those and how it's gonna be phased in, we can't really start commenting on it because we might be saying the wrong thing. So, I can't tell you what 100 block would be first, which one would be second, or what, but it is going to be phased in.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I think that we really need to find out just what a homeowners association means and how, if those townhouse owners are paying less taxes than we are. But I think that we really need to find out what the story is, because if they're paying less taxes to us because they're supposed to have a homeowners association that does certain services. And from what I gather, because I was on an effort to start the homeowners association again, but if they just decided that they don't want to pay and they're paying less, I just think we need to look into what the situation is before we just decide to take care of their property when that's not the way their home ownership was set up to be.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think we've gotten most of the people who, did anyone else in the room have anything to say? And we've gotten most of the comments that were in the chat. Did we get all of those? Okay. All right, I think we've covered the gamut of everything. And again, I want to say thank you to you all for your patience and for coming and staying, because a lot of times if you're going to gather the whole picture when you get a chance to see the complete meeting. I want to say thank you all, and please continue to come. I might not be here, but you'll see me somewhere roaming around the town. Yeah. But it's been a pleasure. And I'm going to, at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment. All right, can I get a second on that? Been properly moved and seconded. Councilmember Barnhart seconded. All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. We are adjourned at 10:40. Okay. Okay. Okay, you all have a wonderful night. We'll be in touch. Send me the email. Let's try to get that letter for park and planning.